arriving at the Numaish ground to offer tributes to Mulayam Singh. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Sharad Pawar, Hemant Soren, KCR, all to be attending Mulayam Singh's funeral. Mulayam Singh's last rites will be performed with full state honours. The three-time Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mulayam Singh, died on Monday at a hospital in Gurugram after prolonged illness. Visuals coming in from the Numaish grounds in Saifai, where his final rites, his funeral, will be taking place. In fact, we hear that the locals in Saifai have all gathered, all coming to this ground, have been flocking right from the start of the day, only to get one last glimpse of their leader. In fact, the supporters, his fans, his followers, and just those who were very curious and inquisitive about Mulayam Singh Yadav's political career, coming to take a quick look and a final look at Mulayam Singh, his mortal remains that has been kept at the Numaish grounds in Saifai. I have with me Rahul Srivastav, who's been tracking the large career of Mulayam Singh Yadav and could give us a little understanding on his body of work. And today, as we bid goodbye, Rahul, the last respects that's carried out in Saifai village, his own hometown, give us an understanding of the crowds that we see here. Huge crowds that have flocked to take one last look at Mulayam Singh. We hear that the villagers there around were very inquisitive, and many of them, while speaking to India Today, has said that Mulayam Singh always gave them some kind of energy that nobody else could.
You see the way the congregation is happening. This is no ordinary village. I think this is perhaps the best provided village in the entire country, I will say. That not even villages from which presidents and prime ministers of this country hail from. Mulayam Singh Yadav was criticized for Saifai, what he did to Saifai. There is a world-class cricket stadium. There's a world Olympic-sized swimming pool, a 1,000-bed hospital. And I know last time I went there was during the elections, assembly elections, and people from Nepal, patients from Nepal were there. So he created a medical hub and a medical college in the village. So today, if there are the entire battery of leaders, opposition as well as allies of Mulayam Singh Yadav, because Mulayam in his career has done business with almost everybody, barring directly with the BJP. He has been direct or indirect ally to almost every political outfit in the country. He might have betrayed them later, for example, say Mamata Banerjee during election for Pranab Mukherjee's presidential election. The fact is he has done business with all of them. And there was a Mulayam Singh Yadav who did create political and personal links with leaders. And because of that, I think one of the most unprecedented congregation of leaders will be seen for his final rites. And if they can accommodate the number of flights which have landed today, it's because Mulayam Singh Yadav created an airport at Saifai, which could handle the volume of aircrafts which are landing at Saifai. And the journey started from Saifai. It was a village with no electricity. There was no school. There was not even a decent Kacha road leading to the main road to Eta, Itawa, or Mainpuri and other towns. The fact is that he was the first graduate in 60 Yadav villages in the area. First graduate ever. And eventually, you can see leader after political leader coming to pay homage to a leader who eventually, I think, defined most of the politics between 1989 and till date. Because if he represents the ascent of the marginalized OBCs, blending it at the time with the Kamandal, with the BJP, aggressive BJP, pushing the minority towards, in the hunt for a leader who could protect their rights or could fight for them, Mulayam Singh became that umbrella. With the Congress receding, and especially with the firing on car sevaks, Mulayam sent out a signal. And I think from there on, if you look at BJP's politics today, the BJP may have redefined the paradigm, Mandal paradigm, that it has got a OBC leader in Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is, its Council of Ministers has 27 OBCs. The demographic base of the BJP has shifted from the Brahman Baniya party to the socially backwards. And there is, of course, the Hindutva element. So I think Mulayam Singh Yadav has dictated the politics which we see today and has a huge imprint. And that is why I think for Samajwadi Party from here on, a very tough road ahead.
Right. You know, Rahul, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to politicians who have reacted to the demise of Mulayam Singh Yadav as the final rites just begins in Saifai. Let's listen in what they have to say.
Mulayam Singh is a great man, yes, and also a great statesman. We had a very good equation with him for the last 4 decades. First time he came to Hyderabad during NTR's regime, first political conclave in 1984. From then onwards, he is working with us. He elected 3 times Chief Minister, 10 times MLA, 7 times MP. He was Minister in United Front as Defense Minister. Great career.
हमेशा आशीर्वाद मिला, उनकी हमेशा मार्गदर्शन मिला। जब जब मैंने कोई कार्य कहा तो उन्होंने, चाहे दल कोई भी हो, उन्होंने कार्य और वो अक्रॉस पार्टी, इतना बड़ा व्यक्तित्व था जो अक्रॉस पार्टी लाइन जिसका प्रभाव रहता था। और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात उनकी ये रहती थी कि वो अपने कार्यकर्ताओं की पहचान और कार्यकर्ताओं की प्राथमिकता और उनके कार्य पूरी दमदारी से करते थे।
All right. Rahul, you know, we heard Chandrababu Naidu, the tall leader from the south, who has spoken extensively on Mulayam Singh. So Mulayam really had this reach to regional satraps across the nation. And somehow that's echoed. We're looking at them showering praises on Mulayam Singh. What kind of effect did he really have on these regional leaders over the years?
You see, what is interesting is I believe that in South India, it was Karunanidhi, and in North India, it was Mulayam Singh Yadav, who mainstreamed the opposition. Yeah, so much so that Mulayam Singh Yadav was being considered for Prime Minister. Mulayam Singh, without Mulayam Singh Yadav, the opposition could not create that spectrum of an opposition unity. So Mulayam Singh Yadav was critical. Also because remember, undivided UP had 425 seats and 85 Lok Sabha seats. And it was the biggest state, and once you control UP, you could control. So anybody who was a big player in UP was big player for India. That was the significance of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Now take for example Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. Chandrababu Naidu himself said that the first conclave in '84, one of the conclaves was in Hyderabad. Now interestingly, Mulayam Singh Yadav and Chandrababu Naidu were together in the National Front government, in a United Front government. And in that government, there was a tussle between Mulayam Singh, Lalu and others, and they wanted to be prime ministers. Mulayam's chances were scuttled, won by VP Singh, Lalu Prasad Yadav, Sharad Yadav, and of course the Congress party. But still, what I want to say, Chandrababu Naidu was a convener. So they have done business very closely because Chandrababu Naidu was a convener. Now Mulayam Singh Yadav eventually broke away with the left and went with Dr. Manmohan Singh to save his government after the nuclear deal. And Chandrababu Naidu similarly went with the BJP. So there has been, what one can say, in this opposition spectrum, a lot of movement against and for each other. So it's a very, very interesting blend of political leaders we will see today. Those who have done business with each other, who have been political rivals, and with consummate ease can come back together with each other.
Right. These are live visuals, if I could cut across to the shots that we're bringing to you on our screens. These are live visuals of Mulayam Singh Yadav's final journey. And we see his son, Akhilesh Yadav, there on that tractor as it moves amid an ocean of crowds there. And this was expected. He was 3-time Chief Minister, 10-time elected MLA, 7-time Lok Sabha MP. And this man is an out-and-out grassroots leader. And this kind of crowd was certainly expected. Undoubtedly, despite the kind of overwhelming love that Yogi Adityanath receives today in Uttar Pradesh, it doesn't take away from the affection that Mulayam Singh had. over the years, decades.
See, remember, Yogi Adityanath, BJP won the elections and Yogi Adityanath got the mantle. And then he worked at it. In the next elections, Yogi might have become a big leader. But Mulayam constructed a party from scratch. He picked up 1%, 2%. He added people and created a political party at a time when Congress hegemony was there and also the upper caste domination at every step in administration as well as in politics. Everything belonged to the upper caste, and Mulayam Singh had to break the ceiling, had to really play it rough. And in that scenario,
right,
the allegiance of the backwards to Mulayam Singh Yadav is very strong.
Right, and that's precisely what we see here. I'm going to quickly cut across to Preeti Chaudhary, who's on ground, joining us live from Saifai. Preeti, over to you. Take us through what's behind you.
Well, Nabila, I have never seen what I am witnessing. It's a funeral where your eyes can go. That's all you can see. It's a sea of crowd, is what you're seeing right in front of me. I'll ask my camera person, Prem, to actually show you. That is where Akhilesh Yadav is bringing the mortal remains of his dad, his father, Mulayam Singh Yadav. The procession is just pulling in, and with it, at least, Nabila, if I can say, and I'm sure Rahul Srivastav is there with us, the kind of people that have come out, the kind of outpouring of grief is unprecedented. It's taken me an hour and a half of just walking. There are at least over 1 lakh of people here, and all that you can actually hear is Netaji Amar Rahe. I'll also, bring in Rahul Srivastav on these visuals because, Rahul, along with Netaji Amar Rahe, and, it's a precarious situation right now. We are perched in a corner. There's a sea of crowd. A lot of people coming in, pulling in, emotions are running high. But along with Netaji Amar Rahe, there is also a slogan which is being raised, Rahul, and maybe when you were covering, Mulayam Singh Yadav during his, heydays as a politician, in the 80s, in the early 90s, is Netaji Foladi Hai. That was apparently, I was talking to, this old man right in front of me, and he was telling me, that the slogan that they are raising was raised when Mulayam formed his own party in the early 90s and fought an election. So all of that echoing right now. This is the same ground, if I might tell our viewers. This is the Mela ground in Saifai. It's the same ground where Mulayam Singh Yadav etched his name in wrestling. He used to wrestle here. So in that form of euphemism, it's ashes to ashes, dust to dust. He's coming right back. He's going to be cremated from the same grounds where he rose as a wrestler. If you look at Mulayam Singh Yadav, in terms of lineage, he's been a farmer. In terms of training, he's been, a teacher. In terms of, training as well, a wrestler. But the people that you actually speak, to here would say, in terms of instinct, he was nothing else but an astute politician. But, usually when someone like him, who's an icon of India's socialist movement, political socialist movement, passes on, one tends to gloss over, all that his political history stood for. There might have been a lot of wrongs in his political career, but if you look at the outpouring of grief, the kind of love that people have, especially in Saifai, there are people here who've come from all across Uttar Pradesh. One can easily pick up on the emotion that Netaji actually evoked in the people. Deep love. A lot of people you spoke to, each one of them will have an anecdote. Not of course the sea that you see, but most people that we've actually been able to talk to, each one of us has given an anecdote on when, Mulayam Singh Yadav spoke to them, remembered, their names. So a huge flood of support, and it also somewhere down the line talks of or smacks of the kind of politics that Mulayam Singh Yadav introduced in Uttar Pradesh, where the backward classes pretty much wrote the narrative of UP. But Rahul, I'll bring you here. You've covered many funerals, political funerals at that. What we see right now is astounding, Rahul. I have never seen something like this ever. But do tell us with what you're seeing. What in front of us, Rahul, is the final mortal remains of Mulayam Singh Yadav. There's Akhilesh by his side. There's also Tejasvi. Tejasvi Yadav is related to the Mulayam Singh Yadav family. One of his sisters is married into it. There's also Ramdev, who's going to be conducting some of the main pujas, the final rites here. But, we've been talking about the legacy of Mulayam. But, Rahul, everything falls. Netaji Amar Rahe, chants rising. But Rahul, nothing gives more credence, to the kind of politician Mulayam Singh Yadav was, but the sea of support, lakhs of people from all across UP coming in. This is testimony to the politician that he really was.
Smriti, you see, I'll tell you why Mulayam Singh is so critical and why there is such a large crowd and the fervor. It is primarily because, you see, Mulayam Singh Yadav in the 1960s, when he started making forays into politics. Before that, Mulayam Singh Yadav and the Yadavs and the backwards in Uttar Pradesh, people used to go to school for education, jobs and other things. But backwards like Mulayam Singh Yadav used to go to break the barriers. So the idea to go to school was break the barriers. It was nothing ordinary about going to school. It was an extraordinary feat. Going to college was bigger. Getting a sarkari job was way bigger. And to actually break into politics and create an imprint for yourself was something which Yadavs had never imagined at one time. The OBs had never thought about. Now you are standing in Saifai at that ground. Right in front of you, there is a Connaught Place-like structure, which is a central market that Akhilesh has created. And you can see that white clock tower from where you are standing. That's Akhilesh has created. Nearby, there is a...
Rahul, the reason that I'm coming in, I'm just going to come in. I'm going to just come in, and the reason is I just want to, I'm sorry to cut you short, but I've been trying to talk to people. This man is, touching. Now, kitne saal ke ho gaye? 92 saal. So, look at his age. It's impossible to walk through this crowd. This man is, now itni dur kyun aaye ho? Kaise? Kyun aaye ho itni dur? यहीं पे गाँव है, चल के आए हो? नेताजी को जानते थे?
रोज संग रहे।
नेताजी के बारे में क्या याद है?
नेताजी के बारे में सैफाई में जब कशु नहीं है तो तब सैफाई वो नाम नहीं करेगा ये।
सैफाई का नाम उन्हीं से हुआ है?
हाँ।
या आप इनके बेटे हैं?
नहीं, मैं कभी हूँ पवन प्रताप सिंह कानपुर से।
आप भी सैफाई से हैं?
नहीं, मैं कानपुर से। सैफाई में कोई ऐसा आदमी नहीं है तो लोग हत्या रोटी खा चुकी है तो कंकड़ खोदाते और तो एक मंत्री जी के बड़ाए भाई सब सड़क पर लग गए।
कब से देखा है नेताजी को?
हमने जन्म में समझ रहे थे।
जन्म से देखा है, उनके साथ थे?
हाँ।
क्या कोई वाकया याद है?
हमें लोहरे आते, हमारे 5 हुआ थे, हमें लोहरे आते।
यहाँ पर आते थे? आपके पैर छूते थे?
हाँ।
आप 92 है? 92 years के हैं? That's Rahul. He's 92, and I have to give it to him that he's walked all the way, even from his village right here. He's known Mulayam Singh Yadav since he was a child. Mulayam Singh Yadav used to touch his feet, is what he says. There's also a man who's very eager to read some poetry. हाँ, बोलिए। आप कहाँ से आए हैं?
मैं कानपुर से आया हूँ।
आप नेताजी को क्या मानते थे?
नेताजी ने मुझे गोदी में खिलाया, मेरे पिताजी के दोस्त थे।
आपके पिताजी के दोस्त थे? सैफाई से हैं वैसे?
मैं असेंधी से हूँ, यही किसनी के पास है, और कानपुर में हूँ इस समय।
अभी कानपुर में है, तो आप इसी के लिए आए हैं कानपुर
के लिए? मैं कानपुर से।
चलिए, जो पंक्तियाँ आपने लिखी हैं पढ़ दीजिए।
मैंने नेताजी के लिए 4 पंक्तियाँ लिखी हैं। देश को प्यार की जिंदगी देने वाले, देश को प्यार की जिंदगी देने वाले, सबको दम दे गए, सबको गम दे गए, खुशी देने वाले, देश को प्यार की जिंदगी देने वाले।
चलिए, कोई I'll ask Prem to actually come down. It's chaotic like hell, and you can see this man has just passed out. We're going to try and arrange some pani de do yaar. We're going to try and pani मुंह पे इनके घर वालों को फोन कर दीजिए, इन पे पानी मुंह पे पानी डाल दीजिए ना, इनको बाहर के Rahul, it's very chaotic here. Understandably, like I said, there are a lot of people who are passing out, lack of water, and a lot of them dehydrated as well. There are no arrangements, understandably, the kind of flood that it has seen. But it was, I would reckon, anticipated that this would happen. But from where we can see, Rahul, from where we can see, all you can see is actually just a sea of people. Like you were pointing out, we can go on and talk about the legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav in studios, but ultimately the true legacy of his politics is today witnessed in the, in this Maidan right here. And nothing could echo more than the crowds chanting the names of Netaji Amar Rahe.
See, Preeti, this gentleman who is 92 told you that there was nothing in Saifai. And if you ask him this question, that why is he here, he will tell you that he is here primarily because Mulayam Singh represents the struggle of the backwards in a state like Uttar Pradesh. It is that agrarian class which at one time started benefiting from the Green Revolution and slowly started realizing that political power was the first step towards social power. And you will find hundreds of men who are octogenarian or older who will come and tell you the same story about Mulayam Singh Yadav, that how Mulayam Singh Yadav represented the battle of their lives. And you see, all around you, this Saifai village, I think epitomizes what Mulayam Singh Yadav also stood for. In terms that it was not just ducking past the obstacles as far as his politics was concerned, or deceiving or betraying his political opponents. I think it was also about the consciousness that something needs to be done to the ground, to the soil where he came from, like Saifai. And I think Saifai today is the model village. And at one time when we used to be in Lucknow, and we used to discuss this fact that UP has had some 15, 16 chief ministers. And at least 12 of them who were on for a decent period of time. And if they had created one Saifai-like hub in a district, then UP might have had many such hubs with 1,000-bed hospitals. So the encephalitis deaths in Gorakhpur and the starvation and several malnutrition deaths in Banda, Bahraich and other areas, those wouldn't have been happening primarily because the leaders lacked that vision which Mulayam Singh Yadav had to create a hub. He was criticized for holding that Saifai Mahotsav. Maybe that was a political mistake, but he was mainstreaming perhaps his own village too far, went too far in doing that. But definitely, I think where you stand and you say, look around yourself, because right behind you there is a wonderful highway. Akhilesh Yadav has made it. The clock tower, the medical college is just across the road where you are standing. I think Saifai is worth emulating, and that's what I think what Mulayam did is also worth emulating.
Right. All right. Rahul, I'll just show you. It's tragic. It's tragic what's happening. There are people who are being, taken out of this Mela ground. Some of them have totally passed out. There's no water. I've never seen something like this. I hope everything goes off peacefully, especially the kind of crowd surge that we've seen this time. I'll ask my camera person, Prem, to actually show you where they are setting up the pyre. And, Rahul, especially in the rural area, I would think, while chants of Netaji are echoing, emotions are clearly running high. Bhai sahab, niche ho jaiye, haan. Emotions are clearly running high. But, there's wood. And it happens in possibly every village where they say कि हर घर से लकड़ी आती है for when there's somebody who's revered passes away. And the same thing is happening here from the entire village of Saifai. We are told people from each house have got one plank of wood to add to the pyre, basically to show solidarity with the family. But ultimately, it also comes through just this massive outpouring of grief and love. The cops now have stopped the people from coming in. I think it's a tad too late because there's just no space here. But Rahul, with what I was saying, it goes on to show the kind of love. It's a rural custom, but it's steeped in so much reverence, where one plank of wood coming in from each household in Saifai to add to the pyre of what Mulayam Singh Yadav was.
Yes, I think, Preeti, that's perhaps what Saifai means. I have been to this village many times, and in fact, many a times when during elections there has been no place to stay, there are neighbors who are virtually most of them related to Mulayam Singh Yadav, near close relatives or distant relatives, and the doors were always open for anybody who was coming to interview Mulayam Singh Yadav. In fact, Saifai had that bonding, which eventually created that space for Mulayam Singh Yadav, perhaps to catapult himself into the politics. Most of the families in the close proximity are Yadavs, but the fact remains that there is a kinship. Saifai is a very proud place because of Mulayam Singh Yadav. There is an Amitabh Bachchan school named after Amitabh Bachchan, and Amitabh Bachchan has been to Jaya Bachchan, Jaya Prada. All of these stars and others have been to Saifai. The fact is that Saifai was introduced to a lot of things because of Mulayam Singh Yadav. And interestingly, where you stand, if you turn right behind you, for example, there is also a dilution of what Saifai used to represent in terms of the politics of subalterns, socialist Mulayam Singh Yadav. Akhilesh Yadav, Samajwadi Party, losing elections, eventually decided that they need to dabble in a bit of Hindutva. So what they did, they created a statue of Dakshin Mukhi Hanumanji right behind where you stand, and you can see that statue. It's a tall statue. It was a subtle signal that how the Samajwadi Party was playing soft Hindutva. I think we all reported it at that time. So if you look around in Saifai, there is testimony to a lot of things. The original home of Mulayam Singh Yadav, which is not the same where today the family lives, it's just across the narrow lane which is there. That home is still a bit there. The brother's house, where there are a lot of buffaloes and cows, he never took to politics, and that's why he still lives the life which he used to at one time. In fact, at one time, he used to speak very openly with the media, and Mulayam Singh Yadav had to tell him that please don't, because you don't really know how to handle politics. But yes, Saifai, if every home is bringing one piece of wood for the final cremation of Mulayam Singh Yadav, I think Saifai is contributing to Mulayam Singh's final journey the way Mulayam Singh Yadav contributed to their lives.
Not just Saifai, it's come, the kind of love and grief has come from far and wide. The Hanuman Murti that you're talking about, in this space, I'm going to still ask my camera person, Prem, to show you. It's the back of that Hanuman Murti, the statue that you were talking about, Rahul, right there. And right behind me is the Mela ground. And once again, at the cost of repetition, when you look at it, it truly is ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The same Mela ground where Mulayam Singh Yadav rose as a wrestler, cut his teeth in this district, in this village, as a teacher, made his name as a politician, now goes back, from Saifai. They'll call him the father of Saifai, but ultimately the son of Saifai is going to go back, in some way, in terms of, just like I said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But, Rahul, as, say, a political reporter, I have covered, I've followed maybe the trajectory of an Akhilesh Yadav. You've had the privilege of covering both, which is Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav. And, for someone like me, who's always read about Mulayam Singh Yadav in textbooks as, an icon of India's socialist movement, one of the political figures which rose post the 70s, and and change the narrative, the political narrative of Uttar Pradesh, with the backwards caste coming in, cutting in, to the upper caste politics of the Congress. I've just read about it in textbooks. For me, it's a surreal first-time experience to actually witness it in the kind of outpouring of the crowds that I see, because I have never seen something like this for, I would reckon, a younger, leader in terms of, or anywhere across. But yes, this is a funeral. But what we see right now, Rahul, and I want you to talk about it a little, the kind of politics which differentiated Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh. As somebody, like I said, when somebody passes on in politics, one tends to gloss over a lot of events which one might want to talk about, but I would think they're also important to talk about. There is a set in India that hasn't taken too kindly in 1990 that Mulayam Singh Yadav ordered the firing on car sevaks, or the fact that he turned a blind eye or looked the other way, usually where law and order deteriorated with his reign as CM in Uttar Pradesh, and the proverb or the term gave birth to the term Yadav Raj. He usually looked the other way. For me, there's Ashok Singh Gehlot who's just come in. Ashok Gehlot, I beg your pardon, has just come in. Bhupesh Baghel is also here. Mr. Kharge is also here. But Rahul, with what I was saying, one of my biggest criticisms of Mulayam Singh Yadav would be his overarching patriarchal self, making sexist statements, condoning, at a point where rapists were concerned, where he said, "Ladkon se galti hoti rehti hai," or actively being one of the biggest opponents of reservation for women in Parliament. Never apologetic also, of that 1996 alleged incident where his own cadre, SP's cadre, allegedly assaulted Mayawati at the guest house in Lucknow. So that's my criticism, but I'm sure, Rahul, you'd be able to add to it, because with the kind of love, the mass leader that this man was, he did have his faults as well.
There was something very unapologetic about Mulayam Singh's politics, for example. For example, in the 50s, there was incident of firing in one of the southern states like Kerala, I think, where the party to which Lohia belonged, there was a firing incident. And the chief minister, Lohia, resigned primarily because he didn't agree with the concept of firing by a state government, because he said that the government has failed to handle its own people. The point is that most of the players who rose for the politics of subalterns usually, to break that ceiling, had to play very rough politics. It was a very non-compromising kind of a space to be, in which there was no comfort zone. So if we see Mulayam Singh Yadav earn the wrath of a VP Singh, because Mulayam Singh Yadav opposed the anti-dacoit operations by VP Singh, the chief minister. Now, why did he do that? Because at one time, a lot of OBC facing social oppression, say even a Phulan Devi, a Malla by caste, turned dacoit not because they wanted to make more money. It was nothing as petty as that. It was tremendous amount of social harassment and oppression which sent a Phulan Devi, an OBC or an MBC, into the world of dacoity. So Mulayam Singh Yadav was playing a constituency game. And that constituency element was so unapologetic. For example, today, if you have a Sadhvi Pragya attacking Mahatma Gandhi or defending a Nathuram Godse, the BJP does not sack her. The BJP does not remove her. The Prime Minister says that I will never forgive her. Now you compare the same thing. Mulayam Singh Yadav's community, the caste which he belongs to, has deep-rooted misogyny. Now, if he goes against that character, he loses that vote, he loses that place. So what does Mulayam Singh Yadav do? He becomes unapologetically sexist or misogynistic. Now that's the urban India, the liberals, all of journalists can say that yes, he's wrong. But the fact is, there are a lot of elements and dynamics of politics which dictate these kind of things to the leadership. The argument can be that why couldn't Mulayam Singh Yadav teach his cadres and his voters that what the right thing to do is. But I think that's easier. I think the convenience of politics dictates that you go as the voters at times say, not the voters going with the leader. And I think that misogynistic character and a lot of those came also because of that element. I think Mulayam Singh Yadav being condoning what the cadres were doing, the law and order issues, I think a lot of them were part of what became the DNA of the Samajwadi Party. So much so that if there was an attempt by the Congress to raise new cadres or the BJP doing something, the cadres would meet them head on. But that kind of vigilantism, political vigilantism, eventually created a law and order issue for Mulayam Singh Yadav. And that's why I will say that Mulayam Singh Yadav may have done many things right, but I think he remains a controversial figure, politician. And a few years back when I was speaking to him and he was facing those disproportionate asset case charges, he told me something very interesting which I found one day Lalu also had told me, that in India, in criminal corruption cases or criminal cases, the upper caste usually does not go to jail. It is the backwards who will go to jail. A Lalu will go to jail, I will go to jail. We will never be part of the textbooks. We will never be part of the syllabus. What we did, what we achieved in politics will never enter the textbooks. I think there is a lot of angst, and I think that social angst might be slowly ebbing, but you can see the crowd which is there. It still tells you that people, the Yadavs and Mulayam Singh Yadavs and the backwards, others still feel that to remain socially and economically dominant, it is necessary to be politically dominant. And this crowd is a symbol of political domination. They may be grieving, but it is also a message of show of strength by those who are backing Mulayam Singh or his politics.
Right. You know, Rahul, it's also the kind of politics or the DNA which was established of the Samajwadi Party cadre, or the kind of politics that was established was also something, the ghosts of which his son Akhilesh Yadav, when he took the reins in 2012, actually had to deal with. Something he fought against the grain to change a perception of the Samajwadi Party, which was something, he inherited along with the political legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Lots of VIP movement here, and I'll just tell our viewers, Rahul, just give me a minute and I'm going to come right back to you. Ashok Gehlot right now is right next to the pyre. Wood, now basically the cops have told the villagers who were trying to get pieces of wood or lakdi to the pyre, with one lakdi coming in from each household, they've said stop. It's in abundance, and understandably so. Ashok Gehlot is now coming back. Ashok, I'll ask...
Getting live pictures from Saifai, where the last rites of Samajwadi Party patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav is taking place as we speak. In fact, Preeti was getting us all of those details. The last rites are taking place at his ancestral village of Saifai. I'm being told that Preeti is back with us. Preeti, if you can hear me, you were telling us about the preparations that are underway, in fact.
Battery. All right, a fair amount of chaos here right now, but I'll ask my camera person to actually show you. I'm going to try and figure out who's actually coming. Final respects are taking place. We're going to get an understanding, but Bhupesh Baghel, Mr. Kharge, Ashok Singh Gehlot completely overwhelmed with the crowds. I didn't have my, we didn't have a camera next to him at that point of time, but Ashok Gehlot was actually telling us that he's never witnessed something like this, and he's been through so many funerals. And, this is subaltern politics in terms of the true testimony of it. till where you see, and I can't say that enough, till where you see, all you see is just people. Okay, so it seems Rajnath Singh, the defense minister, has come in. That's why you can see a full, he's been trying to get in for the last 45 minutes. Imagine he was a defense minister, has been trying to make his way to the pyre there for the last 40 minutes. We knew his cavalcade was stalled, but finally, little by little, pulling in. Even the ambulance for him has been, it just can't make it in. But he's going there to pay his final respects, and understandably, Rahul, Mulayam Singh Yadav has himself, been the defense minister, through his career, and today Rajnath Singh coming in to pay his final respects.
ये कोई ऐसा बिरला ही नेता है अपोजिशन में बैठ के जो बड़ी बातें कर सकता है और ऐसे बड़ा दिल दिखा सकता है.
Our district today. These are pictures coming in. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, Yogi Adityanath, Chief Minister, Congress being represented by Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. All of them in Saifai at this point in time for the last rites of the Samajwadi Party patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav. With tributes coming in for late Mulayam Singh Yadav, who passed away yesterday early morning in Gurugram's Medanta Hospital. Preeti continues to be with us. Preeti, if you could give us a sense of what's happening right now.
The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has finally been able to make his way to pay his final respects to his former colleague in terms of, maybe not colleague, but the former Defence Minister of the country. Mulayam Singh Yadav, through his tenure of being 3 Chief Ministers of Uttar Pradesh, was also the Defence Minister of India. A lot of firsts also he introduced as Defence Minister, and one of those was the usage of Hindi. He was the first Defence Minister where his communication was always in Hindi. He was clearly not very fluent with English as well, so he had pushed most of the formal letters used to come in Hindi. Ramdev, after performing a quick puja, is making his way out in this flood of crowd. It's a sea of support there. He's making his way out there, but right now Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister of India, paying his final respects, and he'd be moving in a short while from here now. He flown in from a chopper, is what we are being told, but for the last 45 minutes he was to be here at 3 p.m. but couldn't make it in, primarily because, and I really don't have to say it, it's the kind of people and the crowds, the surge in the crowds that is here. But we've spoken about Mulayam's tenure as 3-time Chief Minister. We've spoken about Mulayam's tenure as a politician. Even in Saifai, when you talk to the old seasoned hands would say the 2 terms, that anything is possible in politics was possibly made for Mulayam Singh, or the fact that there are no permanent friends or foes in politics. We've seen that through the years, how he's changed sides, baffled many political analysts. But his term as a defense minister, especially of significance right now, because what you see behind you and the visuals coming in of Rajnath Singh, the defense minister of the country, paying his final respects. Rahul Srivastav is still with us. And Rahul, maybe you can add in a bit, because at least when I was reading a bit about his term as defense minister, one of the things that he introduced was the usage of the Hindi language. Most of his communication in terms of formal letters would always be in Hindi, which was apart from what the other precedence was.
Preeti, what's interesting is that the day he took oath and he came to the office for the first time, the nameplate read Mulayam Singh
is Rahul, I'll just come in. Azam Khan is here. He's quite sick, and he wasn't to come, is what we were told this morning. But clearly, Azam Khan right now paying his final respects there. Ram Gopal Yadav also in the morning when he was talking to our cameras started crying. Azam Khan also highly emotional. He's come in with a mask, but coming in to pay his final respects there. I'm sorry I cut you short, Rahul. Do continue and also do touch upon the kind of relationship Mulayam Singh Yadav had with Azam Khan. Very controversial to say, but the same man who with the likes of Amar Singh would hang with the glitterati or the chatterati and the criticism, I would reckon, of the literati would also hobnob with ease with the likes of Azam Khan and the rural satraps in Uttar Pradesh.
The Samajwadi Party. And Mulayam ensured that though in 1990, way before the Samajwadi Party was founded in 1992, ahead of the Babri demolition, the fact remains that Mulayam Singh Yadav created these little elements in his own party as far as various caste groups were concerned. So Janeshwar Mishra, a socialist, was with him somewhere to keep that socialist element alive, but also a signal to the Brahmin community, caste. Similarly, Azam Khan, yes, definitely he was a founding member of the Samajwadi Party, and Mulayam Singh Yadav never ever did something that Azam Khan should be feeling sidelined, barring the time when Mr. Amar Singh made his entry in 1996, and there was in fact a lot of tussle between the two leaders. But Amar Singh could not dictate what Azam Khan used to do. For example, who are going to be the Muslim faces as far as the elections, both Lok Sabha and Assembly are concerned? Amar Singh could never interfere with that. It was always Azam Khan. Even in the time when Akhilesh Yadav became Chief Minister, there is a very interesting story that Mulayam has not informed or discussed the idea that in 2012 Akhilesh will become the Chief Minister. Now, the day the Jyotishi came, Mulayam Singh Yadav was supposed to find out what would be the most auspicious time when Mulayam is going to take oath. And while the Panditji was doing that, Mulayam Singh Yadav suddenly says that Akhilesh ke baare mein bhi dekh ke bata dijiye. Now, at that moment, people came to know, and Azam Khan was definitely not very happy, because Azam Khan felt slighted that eventually he is going to work under the sun. But Mulayam Singh Yadav convinced him and told him that eventually he is going to have his own space. But remember what happened eventually. What happened is that in 2013, when the Muzaffarnagar riots happened, at that time Azam Khan felt that he is not going to report to his own Chief Minister. And Azam Khan took certain steps which eventually became public issue, and that went against the Samajwadi Party in 2014 election, in 2017 election, and I will say even in 2019 election. The fracture created by 2013 Muzaffarnagar riots was still there. I think even in 2022, if the Jats were still wary, one segment of them, of going with the Samajwadi Party and the RLD, I think the reason were the Muzaffarnagar riots. So Azam Khan had a very critical role in Mulayam's period. But I think this is going to be the challenge now in future for Akhilesh Yadav. That how does he harness forces like an Azam Khan? A Shivpal Yadav who might be estranged again after the 2022 elections. How does Akhilesh Yadav control these old-timers, these power centers within the Samajwadi Party? Because he cannot afford to lose them also. Because till date, Mulayam Singh Yadav's party, Akhilesh Yadav, proven in 2022, is still the biggest claimant of the Muslim vote. Nearly 75 to 80% votes are said to have been polled by the Samajwadi Party as far as the Muslims are concerned. And that's some number that Akhilesh Yadav will like to retain in 2024. And that's where lies the challenge. So Azam Khan is a very critical element. But I think the battery of leaders coming in today, pretty very interesting, because eventually, remember, I think the lot of congregations of these senior opposition leaders which we have seen this entire pantheon of top leaders, I think that political coming together and signaling has been a very critical element. And I think today, yes, there is Mulayam Singh Yadav's final rites. Yes, Mulayam Singh Yadav is a respected leader. But I think people are sending out a signal. It's an underlined, subtle show of strength by the opposition to the BJP that yes, we are all coming together. Mulayam Singh Yadav and our respect for Mulayam Singh Yadav is one of the reasons.
But you know, Rahul, we've been right now, Kamal Nath, Bhupesh Baghel, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister, and Kamal Nath have just walked in. After, again, you know, they were also stuck for a while. I believe Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule would also come in. But, you know, Rahul, the people, especially the Samajwadi Party cadre that we were talking to, and some of, you know, the other, the mid-level leaders who had gathered here where, you know, his mortal remains were kept in the morning for people to come and pay their final respects. There is a sense that maybe the opposition, you know, because yes, this is an outpouring of grief, but this was also a political opportunity. And the sense that we picked up from ground is that maybe the opposition did not quite capitalize on it. They were expecting maybe Rahul Gandhi to come in or Priyanka Gandhi to come in from the TMC. You know, through the elections, Mamata Banerjee had vocally supported Akhilesh, but you know, all one lone unknown MP is marking attendance for the TMC here. You know, one would have hoped is what at least the cadre here or the mid-level rung leaders are saying, that along with the outpouring of crowd, this could have been a show of you know, strength, but for them they seem to believe that this is a wasted political opportunity for the opposition.
See, this is what I was saying earlier. The space for the opposition is so unsparing in Indian politics that everybody, every step today needs to be taken with a sense of caution. Say, for example, if you don't have a Prime Minister coming to him, to Mulayam Singh after the strong message that he sent, as far as, which was a very affectionate message, Prime Minister sent out from Gujarat, condoling the death of Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav. But the fact is that the Prime Minister is not there. And I think there is a bit of a political calculation. Yes, it's a huge security risk because the crowd, you can see, is very difficult to manage. And Prime Minister's arrival would have meant much more restrictions in this area, flying restrictions, since a lot of leaders are flying in. So definitely, yes, those reasons are there. But the fact is, fact remains that everybody measures what their politics should be. I think in a birth, in a death, or in between, I think political opposition and or politicians do measure what might be the pros and cons of any political outing they make. But I think the crowds here are definitely a sign. Akhilesh Yadav has quite a task, because I was speaking to one of the Akhilesh's men through the messaging, and I asked him that...
I'll show you, Rahul. Rajnath Singh, after paying his final respects, has just come in, and what you are talking about, a huge political, you know, a huge security hazard. There was no way the Prime Minister could have come in. There was just no way. Even for, you know, the Defence Minister, Rajnath Singh, it was not easy to actually get in all the way here. He is the Defence Minister. He also has a set protocol. Kamal Nath. Now, Kamal Nath also coming in after paying his final respects. Bhupesh Baghel, the Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, also right now coming in after paying his final respects. You know, I'll just tell you, the fact that Rajnath Singh could come through his cavalcade is a miracle of sorts, because Kamal Nath, Bhupesh Baghel, Ashok Gehlot, all of them have actually walked, you know, for the last 2 kilometers. They've actually walked in all the way to where that is Rajgopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party there as well. He's been highly emotional, understandably so. He's worked very closely with Mulayam Singh. He's older than Mulayam Singh. or actually 2 years younger, I beg your pardon, than Mulayam Singh. But, Rahul, go ahead, I'll go back to you, but there was no way that the Prime Minister could have come. There was no way that the Chief Minister could have come. The two deputy CMs of UP that were to come till now haven't been able to make their way in to pay their final respects. Chief Ministers of states have had to walk 2 kilometers with security to even come and pay final respects here.
Well, see, I think if Mulayam Singh Yadav was alive to see this crowd today, or he's watching it somewhere, he would have loved it. Because, you see, just on 17th of February this year, I met him. He dragged me inside the bus. Akhilesh Yadav was taking for a road show in Etawah, the family pocket borough. And there were crowds, which went into a frenzy when they saw Mulayam Singh Yadav, Shivpal Yadav and Akhilesh sitting together. Mulayam was sitting at the captain window inside the Rath. And every 30 seconds, somebody or the other would come and give him, offer him some gift, a mukher, a crown or something. And I saw that people, shopkeepers, old shopkeepers, who suddenly found that Mulayam Singh Yadav was sitting, were jumping off the counters and coming to reach out to Mulayam Singh Yadav. And Mulayam Singh Yadav turned and told me, where has this crowd come from? So Akhilesh was listening. So he said, these are all locals. He said, so Mulayam turned and towards him says, कि मेरा तो खून बढ़ गया. That means it has added to my vigor that I am seeing such a crowd. And Mulayam was really unwell. He was held inside the bus by several people. And to see a crowd, that's what a crowd does to a political leader. And I think for Akhilesh Yadav, this is perhaps a promising sign that the legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav has brought such a large crowd. And see, this kind of chaos, that what I call is, I associate with Samajwadi Party always. I have never seen a Samajwadi Party outing or a public meeting where you don't see chaos. Mulayam Singh Yadav used to actually get onto the stage and used to scold the people in the crowds.
1 second, Rahul, may I come in? Rahul, I'm going to come in. Abhishek Bachchan is here to represent his mother Jaya Bachchan. It's his father's 80th birthday today. But Abhishek Bachchan, and I can actually also maybe see Sharad Pawar if I'm not wrong, but Abhishek Bachchan I can see. And maybe when, from our other camera, which is closer, you'd be able to get a look. But Abhishek Bachchan has come in to pay his final respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav. His mother has been a 3-time Rajya Sabha MP from the Samajwadi Party, Ms. Jaya Bachchan. It's his father, Amitabh Bachchan's 80th birthday here today. Abhishek Bachchan, understandably, his family owes a lot to the Samajwadi Party, especially through very tumultuous times. Anil Ambani is also there. One can actually see him right at the back. If my camera person can show you. So Abhishek Bachchan and Anil Ambani both have come in. And what we are giving to understand is right at the back, trying to make their way, is Supriya Sule and Sharad Pawar, who would also be coming in. But I'll ask my camera person, Prem, to actually, show you. They're all climbing in through right there. And yes, that's Abhishek Bachchan following him, Mr. Anil Ambani. And also, Rahul, I'll pull you in again because in this melee of crowd, help our viewers understand. The Samajwadi Party, at a very crucial time for the Bachchan family going through acute financial distress, did come out. Maybe, at that point of time, the middleman per se was Amar Singh, but the party did come out in support of the Bachchans, and today the Bachchans giving back in terms of Abhishek Bachchan coming in to pay the final respects on the behalf of his mother, who continues to be a Rajya Sabha MP. You spoke to her yesterday. It's Amitabh Bachchan's 80th birthday today as well.
Yes, Preeti, we can see Tejasvi Yadav also rolling in, moving past the crowds. The Bachchan family was introduced to Mulayam Singh Yadav and the Samajwadi Party by Amar Singh. Amar Singh brought a lot of glitz, glamour and corporate captains to the Samajwadi Party. And Mulayam Singh Yadav, through Amar Singh, was looking for mainstreaming of the Samajwadi Party because it was always seen as a party of the Mufassils, towns, Mulayam Singh Yadav against computers and English. And I think Mulayam Singh Yadav was trying to make amends through Amar Singh. So much so that post 2003, in 2007 when there were elections, which Samajwadi Party lost to Mayawati convincingly because law and order was a bigger issue. At that time, Mulayam ran a very sophisticated election campaign, and Amitabh Bachchan was one of the mascots, virtually doing the same what he did for Gujarat government at one time. And Amitabh Bachchan was a very prominent face. And at that time, yesterday when I was speaking to Jaya Bachchan, I think she kept repeating the one fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav had an amazing talent to listen and respect people. And that's one element that she choked many a times during the conversation, but I think she's a consummate actor, so she could really go through the entire interview. But the fact is that the presence of Anil Ambani, for example, another association because of Amar Singh. Remember, there was a power plant being created for which a lot of concessions were given by the Mulayam Singh Yadav, and the Mulayam Singh Yadav government ran into tremendous amount of controversy over the plant which Mr. Anil Ambani was constructing, and eventually all the plans had to be scrapped. So a very checkered kind of an association between the Samajwadi Party and the people who are coming in. But I think one interesting thing is when Mr. Sharad Pawar comes in, I think Sharad Pawar and Mulayam Singh Yadav, when it came to their brand of politics, very similar. It is they both represent a very personalized kind of politics where, like Mulayam Singh Yadav, Sharad Pawar can also recall the name of a NCP block pramukh or a cop posted in Pune or anywhere in Maharashtra,
Rahul,
and that's exactly what Mulayam Singh Yadav could be.
What you talk about, similar politics, also similar politics in the sense, and Sharad Pawar is right there. Jaya Bachchan's also there, yes, we can see her. Rahul, I'll ask, Jaya Bachchan has also come in, not just, she's wearing a mask. Right before Sharad Pawar, there was Jaya Bachchan. So there's also Jaya Bachchan there. We thought Jaya Bachchan hasn't come in. But along, it's Abhishek Bachchan and Jaya Bachchan who have both come. Supriya Sule, Praful Patel and Sharad Pawar. Supriya Sule, where the crowds are acknowledging the crowds there. There's a bit of chanting which is going on, it seems. And, it's a distance from here, but I believe maybe Jaya Bachchan's also here. She's wearing a mask, but I think it's her. And with Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, Praful Patel and Abhishek Bachchan now all after paying their final respects are making their way out. I'm going to try and get a closer glimpse in this, melee and this crowd. I doubt if it's possible, but I'm sure there are closer cameras. And Rahul, you'd be also be able to tell us. It seems Jaya Bachchan's also there.
Because those who have come for the final rites are also, of course, with the stars, and like Abhishek and others, I think the camera, the mobiles are up to grab that picture. But the fact
Jaya Bachchan's
remains,
also there. It seems, Jaya Bachchan, I understand, Rahul. It seems Jaya Bachchan also is there, what we are getting to understand. It looks like her. So we're going to leave it at that, because there's a woman who looks very much like Jaya Bachchan wearing a mask with Abhishek Bachchan. So we're going to, she is there. Okay, the confirmation coming in from my camera person because he closed in. There is Jaya Bachchan there along with Abhishek Bachchan, Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, Praful Patel, all of them right now. Mr. Ambani, Anil Ambani, after paying their final respects, are now making their way back. Also what the cops have done here is about 2 kilometers from here, they're also holding on to the VIP movement, because the kind of groundswell that we are seeing here, if you get too many of these VIPs walking in, there would have been no way to crowd control or manage the crowds. So, all right, while Jaya Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan make their way out of here, let's listen in to that interview that Rahul Srivastava, who's in the studio, spoke in fact with Jaya Bachchan yesterday after she heard of the demise of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Listen in, we'll be right back.
जय जी, आप मुलायम सिंह यादव जी के साथ पारिवारिक और राजनीतिक दोनों रूप से जुड़े रहे। आप उनके देहांत को और पूरे राजनीतिक जीवन को किस पर्सपेक्टिव में देखते हैं कि हाउ डू यू सी, क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है मुलायम सिंह यादव का इस देश की राजनीति में?
सबसे पहले तो राहुल जी मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि मुलायम सिंह जी ने जब मुझे 16 साल पहले प्रवेश करने के लिए कहा, क्यों कहा, उसकी वजह क्या थी मुझे पता नहीं था, और उनका स्नेह तब से लेकर आज तक बिल्कुल वही रहा। और मैंने उनको देखा वो किस तरह से पार्टी के लोगों से मिलते थे, बात करते थे। एक सबके साथ उनका एक पर्सनल रैपो हुआ करता था, और जो जिस भाषा में बात करते थे वो उसी तरह जवाब देते थे, और एक बहुत आत्मीयता थी उनके अंदर पार्टी वर्कर्स के साथ। कभी कभी मैं उनसे पूछती थी कि नेताजी आपको इन लोग कुछ भी खड़े होकर मीटिंग में बोल देते हैं, आप कुछ इनसे कहते नहीं है, थोड़ा बहुत डिसिप्लिन होना चाहिए। तो वो मुझे हमेशा कहते थे आज मैं जो हूँ इनकी वजह से हूँ, तो मुझे इनकी बात तो सुननी पड़ेगी।
आपको क्या लगता है, कई लोग कहते हैं कि एक समय ऐसा आया जब नेताजी समाजवाद के रास्ते से डाइवर्ट हो गए, और वो उसमें आप एग्जाम्पल लिया जाता है कि तमाम बॉलीवुड के लोग समाजवादी पार्टी से जुड़ गए। आप कहेंगे कि वो समाजवादी पार्टी को और विचारधारा को ब्रॉड बेस कर रहे थे, या आप कहेंगे कि वो समाजवादी पार्टी का डाइल्यूशन था?
नहीं, डाइल्यूशन तो मैं नहीं कहूंगी, क्योंकि मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि कला के क्षेत्र में जो कलाकार होते हैं वो उनकी क्या पॉलिटिकल थिंकिंग नहीं होती है, पॉलिटिकल सोच नहीं होती है, विचार नहीं होते हैं। अगर उनको ये कहा गया कि आपको और भी लोगों को मिलना चाहिए, बुलाना चाहिए कला के क्षेत्र में, चाहे वो राइटर हो, पेंटर हो, एक्टर हो, फोटोग्राफर हो, या जो भी कला के क्षेत्र में लोग हैं, या गाने सिंगर्स हो, तो उन्होंने एक अपने माइंड को ब्रॉडन करने की कोशिश की, एक पार्टी के थिंकिंग को, परसेप्शन को, थिंकिंग को वाइडन किया, मगर जमीन से हमेशा जुड़े रहे।
हाउ डू यू डिफाइन मुलायम सिंह एज ए नेता? किस तरह डिफाइन करेंगे उनको, अगर शॉर्ट में कहा जाए? कि आई
थिंक द मोस्ट जेनरस, मोस्ट ह्यूमन एंड अ great strategist.
All right, so Abhishek Bachchan, Jaya Bachchan, Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, Praful Patel, Anil Ambani have all just paid their final respects right behind me. They've made their way out. We are expecting right now the two deputy CMs of Uttar Pradesh to also come in. But, viewers, when you look at the kind of groundswell that this is, and you look at the kind of crowds that have come in, the kind of affection, that Mulayam Singh Yadav actually has invoked in his passing. And, I would think of what his political legacy is. One really doesn't have to say much. We can critique it, and we must critique it as journalists and as political analysts. But, nothing can take away from it, because the kind of people that he's touched, the crowds are witness to that. And Rahul Srivastava, who's tracked his political career through the years, continues to be with me. While chants of Netaji, Amar, rahein, continue to echo through the Mela grounds at Saifai. But Rahul, something that we were talking about of Mulayam Singh, and at the cost of posterity, one would think that he'd be very happy with this send-off, because this befits, I would reckon, in recent past of the funerals that one might have seen very, very few people. I still remember anchoring during Vilasrao Deshmukh's funeral, and I would reckon maybe, the groundswell there came close, but I've never seen personally witness something like this.
Definitely, Preeti, because these leaders are leaders who are born from the ground. They are self-made. They pull in people. They attract people, and also, as you can see, it's a large family. It's a large family Mulayam Singh Yadav presided over, and today, when he's making his final journey, there are so many hands from his own family, and those who are standing all around him, those thousands of people who are there in Saifai, perhaps I think that's a befitting tribute to a political leader who eventually people call Dharti Putra, who people say that he was one of the last of those typical self-created mass leaders. You know, we have a lot of inheritors of political legacy today, a Rahul Gandhi, an Akhilesh Yadav, a Jayant Chaudhary, and so many others today. And in that you see a Mamata Banerjee, for example, these leaders who have created a niche, political niche for themselves. And I think that's where there will always be that sense of awe about them. I think leaders can be politically strong. Say, for example, like Kashi Ram, what a remarkable leader, what a movement he led as far as the socially marginalized are concerned. That his cremation was something worth seeing, because I've not seen, say, for example, so many people crying when Kashi Ram passed away. Similarly, I think Mulayam Singh Yadav, this I think is the most perfect tribute. The crowds, the sentiment, the fervor. I think it's a testimony that mass leaders are eventually mass leaders, and when they are addressing a crowd, this is the kind of response they get, and when they fall silent, this is the response they evoke.
Continuous stream of VVIPs continues to pour in. I think I see Sanjay Singh from the Aam Aadmi Party, but we're going to just confirm, let them come in a little closer. But Rahul, you can't be you can't be further from the truth. It's the kind of mass leader that he was. It echoes right here, and mass leaders come with flaws as well, and he did. That's how a political career of his political career was. It was checkered. That's Mallikarjun Kharge, who's fighting his election for presidency for the Congress party. Nasir Abdullah behind him. Nasir Hussain, I beg your pardon, right behind him. Mallikarjun Kharge acknowledging the crowds, now making his way out. And even like I told you earlier, the police are holding on to the VVIP movement as well, because most of them have to walk in here because the groundswell is such that they're only allowing, a couple of VVIPs to come in at a time. And understandably so, because if there is an influx of even VVIP movement, the chaos that could ensue at the Mela grounds, would be too much. But what we're given to understand is that they're just waiting now for the final respects to be paid, because there is a relay of who else in terms of the VVIPs are left, because the time is running out before the next 40 minutes or half hour. We are told that they have to light the pyre, and Akhilesh Yadav is there. Looks, it's an end of an era, and for him, he's inherited his father's legacy with all its failings as well. But ultimately, it's a huge political legacy. All right, let's listen in to Baba Ramdev talking to one of our reporters.
पूरा देश खड़ा होता है, और आदरणीय नेताजी केवल उत्तर प्रदेश तक सीमित नहीं थे, वो पूरे देश में उनके प्रति एक श्रद्धा, एक जज्बा था। और पिछड़े वर्ग की बात करें या सर्व समाज की बात करें, तो सबको साथ में लेकर के
आपको कोई ऐसा पल जो याद हो, क्योंकि आप लगातार जुड़े हुए रहे हैं मुलायम सिंह यादव से, कोई ऐसा पल जो याद हो आपको जिसके बारे में आप बता सकते?
20-22 साल पहले उन्होंने पतंजलि योगपीठ का शिलान्यास किया, तब वो खुद आए थे हरिद्वार। भयंकर वर्षात के बीच में भी लोग कहते मौसम अनुकूल नहीं है, फड़ा दिक्कत है, लेकिन कोई परवाह किए बिना वो पहुँचे थे। और उसके बाद जितने भी हमने योग से लेकर के भ्रष्टाचार, काला धन, व्यवस्था परिवर्तन के लिए लड़ाइयाँ लड़ी, हर आंदोलन में नेताजी का साथ था, आशीर्वाद था।
सभी पार्टियों के नेता यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं, पार्टियों से ऊपर उठ करके का व्यक्तित्व था मुलायम सिंह यादव।
देखिए, आदमी शुरुआत करता है किसी एक पायदान पर खड़ा होकर के ज़िंदगी की, तो राजनीति उनके लिए एक सीढ़ी थी। उनका व्यक्तित्व उससे बड़ा हुआ, लेकिन वो राजनीति की सीढ़ियों के पार करके उन्होंने राजधर्म को, जनधर्म को, लोक धर्म को, समाज धर्म को जिया था। देखो, यदुवंशियों को भी गौरव मुलायम सिंह जी ने दिलाया। यह उनके जीवन का एक बहुत धवल पक्ष है, क्योंकि आज से करीब 30-40 साल पहले यादव लोग अपने टाइटल में नहीं लिखा करते थे। ये भी एक सच्चाई है कि उन्होंने एक समाज को भी गौरव दिया।
एक अंतिम सवाल स्वामी जी, किस तरीके से आज यहाँ पर जितना आप देख रहे हैं ना स्वामी जी, जन सैलाब उमड़ा।
देखो, इतना बड़ा जन सैलाब देश के कुछ ही महामानवों के पीछे खड़ा हुआ था, जो आज यहाँ पर एक व्यापक समाज की श्रद्धा जो अभिव्यक्त हो रही है, वो यह साबित करती है कि वो जननायक थे।
यहाँ पर स्वामी रामदेव जो कि अंतिम संस्कार के समय यहाँ पर पहुँचे हुए थे और आज तक से एक्सक्लूसिव बातचीत।
All right, once again the Mela ground echoing with slogans, chants in support of Mulayam Singh Yadav, Netaji. There are more VIPs coming. I believe the deputy chief ministers, the two from Uttar Pradesh is what we are given to understand would be coming in next. But I just want to, we were talking about, Rahul Srivastava and I were talking about how every household has offered a wooden plank to put on the pyre of Netaji. It's, how do you know when somebody is a mass leader? And for someone who attempts to be or wants to be a keen student of politics and to read people, it's just, one story would say it all. There was a woman who just came in, if you can see, that bhusa right there, which has just been taken. The police had stopped these villagers, from accepting now, had stopped from the villagers to get these wooden planks because there were so many. This woman and her two daughters had come in with this, and she was in tears. She refused to move till the time it was taken, and it has now been taken. So, these are all, they all add up to an aura of a politician, the connect that a politician has, because it's very rare you'd see something like that, that somebody's taken personal offense because their offering hasn't been accepted, and she was screaming at the police, and they just said they took it from her, and then she just went back. She wasn't there to speak with us, but this is what she wanted to do. And as we continue to touch upon the various controversies, the failings of Mulayam Singh Yadav as a politician, and there have been many, we've spoken about them. Like I said, personally to me, his overarching patriarchy, misogynist, sexist statements at that didn't quite go down well. They were an albatross around his son's neck as well, with the political inheritance or his legacy. He did inherit this perception of the Samajwadi Party, which was condoned by Mulayam Singh Yadav. But Rahul, I'll once again bring you in on this. You've seen many mass leaders. There are few and far between for the likes of us who we follow today. Mostly, the second generation inheritance where politics is concerned. So a huge sea difference there. And you've had the opportunity to study both the ones which actually built, cut their teeth in politics, built their parties, built a political career, and the ones that they handed their political careers to. You've actually seen both sides.
You see, Preeti, there is one, that's a very interesting question, because why I say that, if you look at an election, you find that a Mayawati or BSP voters turn out in larger numbers to vote. And while parties like the BJP, they feel that their upper caste voters are complacent, and usually they don't come out to vote as much. And I think that's also true for mass leaders when it comes to the parties like Congress and BJP, and the parties like the BSP, the Samajwadi Party, say DMK in down south. There is a difference between one can see the fervor, the intensity. The association is there. There is always association between leaders and their voters and their followers. But a party like Samajwadi Party, a party like BSP finds that its supporters turn out with a greater sense of intensity and intensity as far as the final journeys are concerned. Because the leaders usually represent much more than what eventually I think I have seen in other political parties. Say, for example, a Mahatma Gandhi. If you see the old pictures and footage, the turnout was completely different. It was a nation which was pushed into deepest of the sorrows at one time. Last one I saw, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, for example, it was that his people followed the convoy, people, top leaders walked with it. And I think Mulayam Singh Yadav. The mass leaders eventually evoked this kind of response. As you can see that, you know, there are pictures being taken. The pictures being taken, and you see that there is no deformation. There is no security cordon. The Aam Aadmi is as near to the pyre as anybody else as far as the family and others are concerned. And it's anybody who has followed Mulayam Singh Yadav will tell you that unlike the rallies of prime ministers, top leaders of the Congress party and others, there used to be no D virtually around the security D cordon, which we call, when it used to be Mulayam Singh Yadav who used to land for political rallies, get down, get to the stage, deliver a 10-minute speech, and the crowds within seconds would be, the moment he would be leaving, will be standing next to him. And I think it's a virtual repeat, and that's the connect one can see yet again, that if there is Mulayam Singh Yadav's final journey, there is a stack of wood, there is a pyre, and there is Mulayam Singh Yadav. His supporters are there very close to him, standing, perhaps sensing that how their departed leader is eventually being prepared for his final journey.
Everybody, you're right there, because everybody wants to be a part of it. They feel that they need to be a part of it, because, you know, that's what I picked up from this woman who was so angry with the police that she could not actually, you know, give her offering. That they feel it's not just their right. They feel that they have to do it, because if they don't do it, something is going to be incomplete in terms of for themselves, and something that, you know, they'd never forgive themselves with. So, you know, I would reckon that's a testimony of that, Rahul. But, you know, what's also interesting is we did see, you know, somebody like a Ramdev, who usually we've seen as a very strong supporter where the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned. He is a Yadav ultimately. And today, he was the one who was holding on to the hand of Akhilesh Yadav, and I saw them. He was holding on to his hand, constantly hugging him, you know, standing beside the mortal remains of Mulayam Singh Yadav, because I think for somebody who has connected with maybe the ideology of the BJP at this juncture of his life or his you know, career, if whichever way we might want to look at, still goes back and says that he's the man who, the reason why which Yadav started writing Yadav on a bicycle.
I never expected that somebody like Baba Ramdev on a day like this will say something as poignant. Primarily because he was stating an absolute truth. We have been discussing today and yesterday, that how Mulayam Singh Yadav represented the ascent of the backwards in northern India, and a Lalu Prasad Yadav, that he hit the nail on the head when he said that the Yaduvanshis, Mulayam Singh Yadav brought immense pride. So much so that nearly 30 years ago, the Yadavs won't even write the Yadav as far as their surname is concerned. Like it or leave it, people may say that it is they added to the caste fervor, the caste alienation, or the divisions, but eventually it is definitely a fact that a Brahmin or an upper caste would write their name with greater sense of pride than a Yadav or a Dalit. And I think Baba Ramdev was absolutely right. Because yes, 30 years ago, I met Mulayam Singh Yadav 33 years back. And 30 years ago, I remember that there were Dalit villages where boys, if they rode a horse in their marriage, were attacked. There were families among OBCs and MBCs who could not visit the temple in Uttar Pradesh. So if there were such fissures as far as the society is concerned, that sense of pride people like Mulayam Singh Yadav eventually infused, that social pride.
You know, I'm going to just come in and I'm interrupting you because Akhilesh Yadav has given fire to the pyre of his father, and you know, you can see now there's I'm actually seeing there are a lot of wet eyes. And all that is echoing right now is Netaji Amar Rahe. Nobody's quite interested in cameras. Every face is there, and all you can hear, it's deafening coming from there with Netaji Amar Rahe. Every camera is out. They want to capture this. Nobody's looking at our cameras, which is bigger testimony to with what we're actually witnessing. And as far as I can see, it's a sea of crowd who have their hands up, and all that they are saying is Netaji Amar Rahe. And if you actually see, if you look at faces, you cannot see, of course not all, but a lot of eyes are tearing up, and so that's it. With chants of Netaji Amar Rahe, the final moments there, and there is chaos. I must say, there's abject chaos. There was, the minute the pyre was lit, there was a push by the crowds to get closer with chants of Netaji Amar Rahe, and there Akhilesh Yadav is himself come. He's left his father's pyre. Tiket is there, and he's himself come to try and speak to the surging crowds. He's done it, Rahul. Akhilesh is also trying to at least imbibe, with whatever little bit that he can, to be one with the crowds, which practically made his father his legacy today. He came himself to talk to the crowds to actually avoid a situation which could, very quickly turn out of control when you see crowds such as this. And he himself had at one time, the police is telling us that he himself at one point of time had said that he didn't want any barricades. He wanted the people of Saifai to come right here. That's what he's told the people, told the police. And right now, that's Akhilesh Yadav who's leaving, walking through the crowds and leaving now. He's been also advised that Dharti Putra, Mulayam Singh Amar Rahe. I'm going to just give it.
अजीब सा एक काफी इमोशनल डे है, क्या कहना चाहिए आज के दिन?
नहीं, वैसे आदरणीय मुलायम सिंह यादव से हमारे बहुत ही अच्छे रिश्ते थे और समय समय पर हमारी उनसे बराबर मुलाकात भी होती रही, चाहे वो मुख्यमंत्री रहे तब भी, नहीं रहे तब भी, जब मैं मुख्यमंत्री था तब भी उनसे बातचीत का सिलसिला हमारा चलता रहता था। और मैं मानता हूं कि भारत की राजनीति की एक बहुत बड़ी शख्सियत थे और जन सामान्य से जुड़े हुए लोग, धरती से जुड़ा हुआ नेता यदि माना जाता था तो मुलायम सिंह जी को माना जाता था। अब उनके जाने से मैं समझता हूं भारत की राजनीति की एक बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई है और आज हम सब यहाँ पर सैफई में उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करने के लिए यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं। आज मैंने यहाँ अपनी तरफ से भी रीत रखकर श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की है, वहीं हमारे देश के आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा भी, क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे कहा था कहीं वो बाहर है कि मेरी तरफ से भी ये रीत उनके उत्सव पर रखी जाए और मेरी तरफ से भी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की जाए। दोनों काम किया है।
सर, आज बहुत ही भावुक क्षण है, कोई वो क्षण जो आप लोगों ने वैसे तो बहुत पार्लियामेंट हो या फिर राजनीतिक गलियारों में समय एक साथ बिताया, उत्तर प्रदेश की राजनीति से आप दोनों ही आते हैं।
मैंने रिश्ते इस प्रकार के थे कि कभी वो प्रतिपक्ष की तरफ साइड में बैठे होते थे और कभी मैं इधर रहता था, तो कभी कभी मैंने देखा कि वो सीधे उठकर जो है मेरे आके बगल में बैठ जाते थे। उनको इस बात की चिंता नहीं थी कि सत्ता पक्ष किधर बैठता है और प्रतिपक्ष किधर बैठता है, बल्कि मैं इधर बैठा रहता तो आकर मेरे बगल में बैठ जाते थे और अपनी सारी पुरानी बातों की चर्चा करते थे।
पिछड़ों की राजनीति की पिछड़ों की आवाज उठाई मुलायम सिंह यादव जी ने। एक राजनीति में क्या एक शून्यता कह सकते हैं, एक शून्यता है उनके जाने से?
नहीं, स्वाभाविक है, एक बहुत बड़ी क्षति तो हुई है, लेकिन मैं समझता हूँ कि यह प्रकृति का शाश्वत नियम होता है कि जब कहीं कोई गैप होता है, कहीं रिक्ति होती है, तो उसकी पूर्ति भी होती ही है, लेकिन बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई है।
पॉलिटिकली हम एक विचारधारा के हो काम करते हुए आए और वो हमेशा गरीबों के साथ देते और कोई भी गरीबों का प्रोग्राम होता तो हमको साथ देते थे, काम करते थे। उदाहरण के तौर पर एक ही बोलता हूँ, आर्टिकल 371 जे का एक मेरे एरिया के लिए एक समस्या थी। तब उन्होंने कहा कि अगर वोट कम गिरे तो मेरे पार्टी को दिलाता हूँ 2/3 मेजॉरिटी के लिए। तब उन्होंने वैसा ही दिया और उस इलाके में आज वो कानून लागू हो गया। यानी
Akhilesh has refused to take the car. Akhilesh has refused to take the car. He's walking back with the crowds. He's refused to get into the car. He's hugged everyone on the way. Akhilesh was crying when he's been walking with the crowds. He's crying. Everybody seems to be crying here right now. Shivpal Yadav, his brother, left a short while ago. Even he left in tears. But Akhilesh has chosen not to get into the car. They were asking him to get in, but he's walking with the crowds back, understandably so. And now people slowly, some of them walking with Akhilesh, and the others all coming in and paying their final respects. If you can see, there are people still throwing flowers at the pyre. Vibhuti still being offered. Flowers still being offered where the pyre of Mulayam Singh Yadav is concerned. But right behind me, I'll ask my camera person, Prem, to actually show you. People have started walking behind Akhilesh as he's exited the Mela ground and moving from here, refusing to take the car, and he would not have, the kind of groundswell that we've seen. And, Rahul, as we now sign out of our coverage as well, I would reckon, one chant, one slogan that is echoed in the Mela ground, and one can't say it enough times. It was the same ground that Mulayam Singh Yadav built his career, fought many dangals in the akhada right here, and he submitted himself right here. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But Rahul, if one has to say, I would think I'll pick up one of the slogans from here. Dharti Putra Mulayam Singh Amar Rahe. I would reckon that's pretty much encapsulates the legacy of Mulayam Singh.
Yes, Preeti, I think that's it is, because wrestler Mulayam Singh Yadav never quit the dust, heat and dust of politics or of life. If you look at his life also, personal life also, I think there are as many trials and tribulations in his personal life as in his politics. The 2016, 2017 battle in the family, the son virtually ousting him from the party, snatching the election symbol, the battle inside his family, the wife, Akhilesh Yadav, all those tussles, the brother, all those elements. I think a very, very tough life. And eventually, I think what Mulayam Singh Yadav achieved, despite all that you can see on the picture screens, everybody should see that if it is a life which has been lived well, and if people have achieved something, there will be crowds which will be waiting and watching, even if your mortal remains have been consigned to flames.
There were a lot of them waiting right here with but Akhilesh has stopped, what I can see. Akhilesh has stopped and he's actually talking to the people, understandably. There's now, can you see, I'll ask my camera person to show you. There's a push of sorts. He's just stopped there, just about 100 meters from me where I'm standing. And he's actually talking to the people of Saifai who've come here. He's just, speaking to each one of them is what I can see. And, it's going to be a tough job, Rahul, because ever since 2012, where Mulayam formally handed over his legacy to Akhilesh, there is no Netaji anymore who will ride in a bus alongside with you. If you need to be the Dharti Putra's son, you'll have to be bloodied into the Dharti of Saifai, and it seems he's doing exactly that.
Very important, because today is the time when the entire legacy of Samajwadi Party, Mulayam Singh Yadav, has completely shifted to the shoulders of Akhilesh Yadav. Till day before yesterday, Akhilesh was under the umbrella of a father and the founder of the Samajwadi Party. Today he has inherited everything, the good, bad and the ugly of the Samajwadi Party. And in that, if Mulayam Singh Yadav was a leader primarily because he had a personal touch with everybody, Akhilesh will have to re-establish and reconfirm that connect with his average supporter or those who swear by the name of Samajwadi Party or Mulayam Singh Yadav. Those who have come to raise slogans in the name of Mulayam Singh Yadav. I think Akhilesh will have to establish a connect or re-establish a connect with all of them. And I think that's what perhaps is the inheritance. It's not just the legacy or the big name or a big party. It is also the fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav's connect is also there.
And that's what one is witnessing here, because, you know, in midst of Dharti Putra Mulayam Singh, Amar Rahe, in midst of Jab Tak Suraj Chand Rahega, Mulayam Tera Naam Rahega, all of that, you know, right in the middle, sitting without very little security, is Akhilesh Yadav. And, you know, with whoever has followed Akhilesh Yadav, there was always an overarching figure of Mulayam Singh. Even this election, Rahul, ultimately, when the Rath or, you know, the bus rolled for Akhilesh, after months of riding in the on the Rath, he knew that getting Mulayam on board was essential. They would, and you were there. You know, that twice Mulayam boarded that bus, you were there right with them. And the true test of the inheritance, you know, whether Akhilesh Yadav makes it bigger, uses it, earns it, in fact. That would be the right way to say it. Earns his legacy or fetters it away. That test begins now, Rahul.
Preeti, if you note, I think you were at a distance. We could see in the camera that there was a very slender string of white thread crossing the torso of Akhilesh Yadav. That's part of the rituals performed when the eldest son or the person who is setting fire to the pyre of a departed person among the Hindus, that thread is tied. And Akhilesh Yadav, in that white thread crossing his body and upper torso, if one looks closely at the picture, I think that's the legacy. From that thin thread represents that today the mantle has passed from Mulayam Singh Yadav to Akhilesh Yadav. The responsibility is diverse. Remember, it is not just a matter of vote getting. It is also a political responsibility. When the minority voters, Muslims in UP, voted extensively and heavily for Mulayam Singh Yadav and Samajwadi Party, even in 2022 March, it was a political responsibility. And Akhilesh, through that slender thread which he's wearing today, will have to keep that responsibility.
Right. Well, Rahul, thank you for joining us. I couldn't have done this alone here. But I'd just like to ask my camera person, Prem, to actually, we leave you with these visuals. The chants are only getting louder. And what you see right behind me, the pyre of Mulayam, people still standing by in Saifai, at the pyre, waiting it out. And about 100 meters away, from me, about 100 meters away from me is Akhilesh, who's meeting people, hugging them, standing right there. All right, so, you know, I'm going to hand it over to Chaiti. And we leave it, I would reckon, with what Rahul and I were talking. If there is a befitting tribute, it's come from the people. It's a slogan by the people who say, Dharti Putra Mulayam Singh Amar Rahega.
Oh, well, yes, Preeti, that is indeed a befitting tribute to Mulayam Singh Yadav, the late Mulayam Singh Yadav. You can see scores of people gathered right there. Thanks, Preeti, for that. And thanks, Rahul, for that elaborate perspective on the life and the politics of Mulayam Singh Yadav to other big stories that are making headlines now. Moving on now, the much-awaited Mahakal Lok Corridor is set to be presented to the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be travelling to Ujjain from Gujarat to unveil the first phase of a one-of-a-kind corridor, which is built at a cost of 850 crore rupees. The Prime Minister is also going to be performing a puja at the famed Ujjain temple at the heart of Mahakal Corridor's Phase 1. The newly built corridor is going to feature multi-storied parking, shops, a park. The 900 meters corridor is a part of Ujjain's Smart City project and will have ornate sandstone columns, fountains, sculptures and illuminated murals as well.
महाकाल कॉरिडोर की सबसे खास बात यह है कि पौराणिक चीजों को आधुनिक तकनीक के साथ जोड़ा गया है। इसका एक उदाहरण हम आपको दिखाते हैं। देखिए, यहां पर ये प्लेट आप देखिए, ये सप्तऋषि मंडल शिव स्तंभ है और यहां पर एक क्यूआर स्कैन कोड बना रखा है। अगर इसे आप स्कैन करेंगे, यहां पर देखिए, ये हमने स्कैन किया तो ये पन्ना आपको खुल जाएगा। तो देखिए, हमने यहां पर इस पेज से स्कैन किया था और जैसे ही आप स्कैन करते हैं, देखिए यहां पर जो हमने आपको पन्ना खोल के दिखाया वो आपको यहां पर खुला हुआ नजर आता है। ये पेज है उज्जैन ऑडियो गाइड और यहां पर आप लॉगिन करेंगे तो जो भी इस प्रतिमा की कहानी, जैसे इसके बारे में क्या चीज है, हालांकि इसके बारे में जानकारियां दी गई हैं, लेकिन अगर आपको इन तमाम मूर्तियों के बारे में, इन तमाम कलाकृतियों के बारे में और ज्यादा जानना होगा तो फिर आप यहां पर स्कैन कीजिए। आप चाहें तो उसे ऑडियो में सुन सकते हैं या वीडियो के माध्यम से भी सुन सकते हैं। महाकाल का सबसे प्रिय गढ़ है नंदी, इसलिए महाकाल पथ पर जब आप शुरुआत करेंगे तो सबसे पहले आपको दिखाई पड़ेगा नंदी द्वार, जो मेरे ठीक पीछे आपको नजर आ रहा है। ऊपर नंदी विराजमान है और उनके नीचे 8 पिलर बनाए गए हैं जिसमें राजस्थान से आए पत्थरों की नक्काशी की गई है और बीच में भोलेनाथ का ये शिवलिंग इसकी शोभा बढ़ाता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। ये तस्वीरें हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। महाकाल पथ की शुरुआत जो है वो यहीं से होती है। महाकाल कॉरिडोर, जिसे अकल्पनीय, अद्भुत कह सकते हैं आप, और इसी पथ पर चलकर महाकाल के दरबार में जब भक्त पहुंचेंगे तो यकीन मानिए महाकाल की महिमा का मूर्त रूप देखकर अपने आप को, अपने अंदर शिव को वो समाते हुए पाएंगे। लेकिन यहाँ पर 10 दिक्पाल हैं और 8 पिलर बनाए गए हैं और यहाँ पर अगर आप देखेंगे तो देखिए तमाम दीवालों पर शिवलिंग को घेरा गया है। यहाँ पर तमाम स्रोत लिखे गए हैं जिसका मतलब होता है कि आकाश में तारक, पाताल में हाटकेश्वर और जब आप धरती पर आते हैं तो महाकाल से ज्यादा ज्योतिर्लिंगों में कोई बड़ा नहीं।
Heminder Sharma is now joining us for all the very latest details on this story. Heminder, walk our viewers through the facelift that Ujjain is all set to get with this Mahakal Lok. Just like you saw the Vishwanath Dham corridor in Varanasi as well, Ujjain is set for the same fate.
Well, there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement in Ujjain. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to land in Ujjain at around 5:25, and thereafter he's going to dedicate this newly built Mahakal corridor. They are calling it Mahakal Lok. So this corridor is going to be dedicated to the nation by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is going to come to Ujjain at around 5:25. Thereafter he's going to go to the Mahakaleshwar temple. He's going to perform puja at the Garbhagriha. Thereafter he's going to come to this corridor. This is the way that leads to the temple. He's going to go through the Nandi Dwar. The Nandi Dwar is about 120 to 150 meters from this particular place. We have access to this particular place, and from here the Prime Minister is going to talk to and meet artists who have come from 14 states from across the country, nearly 700 artists who have come, and also there are saints there inside the temple premises. The Prime Minister is also going to interact with them, and thereafter he's going to go to a ground which is about 1.5 kilometers from this particular place, and then there is going to organize is going to attend, participate in a rally and address a public meeting. So that's the Prime Minister's program. Thereafter he's going to go back from Ujjain to Indore, and from there he's going to fly back to Delhi. But as far as this,
Heminder, just to give a sense to our viewers, this particular corridor is a part of the Ujjain Smart City project as well, which is a larger project. So if you could give us that context and explain how the Ujjain Smart City project is also progressing.
Well, this particular corridor, this is built on a 47-acre area of land, and this is a 3-phase project that is being planned. The first phase has been completed. Close to 300 crore rupees have already spent on the first phase, and it is estimated and expected that the government is going to spend close to 900 crores on all 3 phases. Facilities are going to be provided, and as I was telling you, it's going to give a major boost to the tourism in the entire area. There is a tourism tourism the circuit that is being developed. And in fact, this is going to be one of the largest or the biggest attraction for religious tourism anywhere in the country that is being planned by the planners over here in Ujjain and also in Madhya Pradesh. Yeah.
Right, Heminder, thanks so much for that elaborate ground report right there. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this story. Like the Vishwanath Dham corridor in Varanasi, Ujjain is all set to get a facelift with the Mahakal Lok. It is a corridor which is leading to Mahakaleshwar Temple of Ujjain. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be inaugurating the corridor in Ujjain today. Let's take a look at a ground report with a preview of the Grand Corridor, the Mahakal Lok.
The Mahakal Lok, billed as the largest, is over 900-meter corridor that is all set to make the journey to Mahakaleshwar Temple a mesmerizing experience. The Mahakaleshwar Temple is one of 12 Jyotirlings in the country and gets devotees throughout the year. With the completion of the first phase of the Mahakal Rudrasagar integrated development approach, Ujjain is all set for a bright makeover. Two majestic gateways, Nandi Dwar and Pinaki Dwar, have been erected near the starting point of the corridor, which winds its way to the entrance of the ancient temple while offering aesthetic views along the way. These 108 pillars are made from sandstone sourced from Rajasthan.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the famous Mahakal corridor at Ujjain on October 11. India today reaches the ground zero to show the magnificent piece of art having cost of massive 650 crores rupees. This entire corridor has 190 murals, a 900-meter long mural walls showcasing Lord Shiva's mythological stories.
The development of Mahakal Lok includes a midway zone, a park, a multi-storied parking lot for cars and buses, florist and other shops, solar lighting, a facility center for pilgrims, a mega entry gate, water pipeline and sewer line.
इसमें इस प्रोजेक्ट को जब मैंने हाथ में लिया था तो मेन कंसर्न था सिर्फ कि क्राउड को किस तरह से मैनेज करना है और लोगों का एक्सपीरियंस सुधारना है। तो एक्सपीरियंस सुधारने के लिए बस दुकानों को सेग्रीगेट करना एक सॉल्यूशन नहीं था। तो हमने इस चीज़ में सोचा कि भगवान शिव पर आधारित जितनी कथाएं हैं, जो पौराणिक कथाएं हैं, पुराणों में कही जाती हैं, वो उन सब कथाओं को यहाँ पर डिस्प्ले किया जाए। डिस्प्ले करने के लिए जो हमारा माध्यम रहा है वो रहा है स्कल्पचर और म्यूरल।
Around 200 kilometers from Bhopal, Ujjain is one of the ancient cities of Vikram Betal mythology fame. The city was originally built around Saptsagar or 7 lakes. The Mahakaleshwar temple was on Rudrasagar lake. The first phase of this massive construction around Rudrasagar came at a cost of 350 crore rupees, of the total 856 crore. With Ravish Pal and Anand Bhatt, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Mahakaleshwar temple is one of the 12 Jyotirlings in the country and gets devotees throughout the year. The mega corridor in Ujjain is located about 200 kilometers from the state capital, Bhopal. Ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit, Ujjain has been decked up, as you can see from the visuals that are coming in, a large-size shivling covered in the strands of moli threads has been placed below the crown gateway, Nandi Dwar of the Mahakal Lok. Here's a look.
Maheshwara, Shankara, Vishweshwara, Vishwanath, Parmeshwara, Veerbhadra. Choose from any of his 108 names. But he never needs any introduction whatsoever. Nor does Lord Shiva, the great god of the Hindu pantheon, need media headlines. But that's precisely where he has been over the last few weeks. With acclaimed ancient shivling nestled inside the famous Gyanvapi Mosque complex in Kashi becoming one of the most viral images of the year. The shivling, along with Shiva's Vahana Nandi in the Kashi Vishwanath temple complex, have come to represent a high-profile, unrelenting battle over past acts. Speaking of shivlings, only days ago, the Tamil Nadu Police's idol wing nabbed 2 men for trying to sell a 500-year-old green stone shivling worth several crores. The bottom of the Nagabharanam has the 5 faces of Lord Shiva with a damaru, a trident and a snake. On the back of the snake's hood, an eagle is depicted in a flying position. Only a few days ago, a 300-year-old Shiva temple in the Alwar district of Rajasthan was demolished, triggering protest in the area. One among a spate of flare-ups in Rajasthan. Lord Shiva was once again center stage in the headlines. When Prime Minister Modi visited the world-famous Kashi Vishwanath in December last year to inaugurate the famous Holy Corridor and unveiling a long-awaited cleanup of the site. And if you had any doubts about Lord Shiva being no stranger to high-profile headlines, all you have to remember is this iconic moment at the end of campaigning for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. When Prime Minister Modi, in the shadow of Shankara, retreated for a night into this cave in Kedarnath, instantly transforming it into a tourist attraction. There are numerous other instances of Lord Shiva shining in the headlines. But with millions of Indians captivated by grainy images of acclaimed shivling, the Lord of Lords finds himself front and center once again.
Lord Shiva is an omnipresent icon of Hinduism. We're now going to be decoding the origins of the Shiva Linga. Here's a look.
Is this or is this not a shivling? That is the question. And it isn't for you or me to decide, but a court of law. The shivling is one of the most familiar representations of a Hindu deity. Perhaps Hinduism's most recognized forms of spiritual iconography. When you see it, most people immediately know what they are looking at. But how many of us actually know the origins of the shivling? What it represents and how it has come to be such an iconic form of a beloved god. First things first, what is it? Very simply, it is the murti or devotional image in Hindu temples dedicated to Shiva. The cylindrical structure placed on the disc-like structure together fuse to represent the merging of primordial matter and pure consciousness, the merging of the cosmos with the material state of being, the fusion of the masculine and feminine, and at once a generative and destructive symbol that encompasses all of the universe. The lingam is additionally found in Sanskrit texts such as Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Samkhya, Vaisheshika and other texts with the meaning of evidence proof of God and God's existence. The shivling emerges prominently across the ages, from civilizational times to the Puranas, to all the phases of ancient Indian history. After the 11th century invasion of the subcontinent by foreign Islamic armies, the invading armies are documented to have taken great pride in destroying shivlings and Shiva temples. And according to scholars like Wendy Doniger, even reusing the shivlings to build other structures in places that stretch from Somnath in Gujarat to Chidambaram in Tamil Nadu, and as revealed by the current headlines in Varanasi as well. From tiny idols to giant representations, the shivling is omnipresent in India. Perhaps the most famous is the ice lingam at the Amarnath shrine in the Himalayas, forming every winter on the floor of the cave and visited by thousands of pilgrims. And perhaps the biggest is literally a mountain named Shivling in Uttarakhand. It towers over 6,500 meters into the sky, above the snout of the Gangotri glacier, the source of the river that is said to flow from Lord Shiva's tresses. And the tallest human-made shivling is the 111 feet tall record-holding shivling in Chengal in Kerala. As a pervasive icon of belief and the most beloved form of the Mahadev, the shivling is both mysterious and all-encompassing. It both speaks and is yet silent. It both reveals as well as hides. And within its lines and curves is said to reside the universe.
Lord Shiva is worshipped as the Lord of the Lords, a Devo Ka Dev, Mahadev, and if you talk about his temples, the Jyotirlings or the shrines from Amarnath in Kashmir to Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, you talk about Jyotirlings, you talk about temples from Bhagwan Kedarnath to Pashupatinath in Nepal. He is worshipped across length and breadth in many forms. One of the most famous deities, he is also seen as a problem solver, destroyer of evil, destroyer of problems. We're now going to tell you all about Lord Shiva and Jyotirlings and the temples across the country.
Acclaimed ancient shivling in Kashi's Gyanvapi Mosque. And not far from it, Shiva's Bulvahana Nandi in the Kashi Vishwanath Mandir next door. A complex that has imprisoned the attention of India's faithful for weeks now. The Kashi Vishwanath temple, newly spruced up and ready for a new generation of worshippers, is but one of 12 Jyotirling temples mentioned in the Shiva Purana. Temples dedicated to Hinduism's Lord of the Universe. While the Kashi Vishwanath temple has become the emotive center point of a new legal spectacle, let's tell you about the other 11 Jyotirlings, splendid shrines to the great god. In no particular order, let's begin with the best known. Famous to millions of devotees and popularized further by politics and cinema, the Sri Kedarnath shrine nestled high up in the Himalayas in Uttarakhand. According to Hindu legends, the temple was initially built by Pandavas. The temple is one of the 4 major sites in India's Chota Char Dham pilgrimage. The complex was damaged by the devastating 2013 flash floods, but has since been refurbished to a new glory. Then there's Gujarat's famous Somnath temple, one of the most sacred pilgrimage sites for Hindus and believed to be first among the 12 Jyotirling shrines of Shiva. The temple was revived and reconstructed several times in the past after repeated and uninterrupted destruction by multiple invaders and rulers. The shrine is of huge importance to devotees. With an eye on election to the Gujarat Assembly in December this year, the central government has declared that donations made to the Somnath temple would be exempt from taxes. Another famous Shiva shrine, popular with devotees nationwide, is the Mahakaleshwar temple in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. The presiding deity is Shiva in the lingam form. The southernmost of India's 12 Jyotirling temples of Shiva is the Ramanath Swami temple on Tamil Nadu's Rameshwaram Island. The temple has the longest corridor among all Hindu temples in India. In Hindu mythology, the presiding deity, the Ramanath Swami Shivling, was established and worshipped by Lord Ram before crossing the bridge to Lanka. The 12 Jyotirling temples are not only among the most visited temples in the world, but also the most revered. The 12 Shiva Jyotirlingas symbolize the utmost dimensional reality and signify the supreme power of Lord Shiva. On Mahashivratri, pilgrims offer prayers to the devotional presence of Lord Shiva in the form of the Jyotirlings. In each of these 12 sanctum sanctorums sits different forms of the Mahadev.
There's something about Lord Shiva that is very powerful. He's considered also to be a very cool god. He's considered approachable, somebody who solves everyone's problems from a young child to someone who's senior. His devotees find him to be very, very cool. He gets angry, but he's pleased very easily too. If we talk about India's pop culture, remember the film Bahubali movie? And in several other movies, Lord Shiva is considered to be a god who's very popular, and hence he makes his way in pop culture. Let's now celebrate Lord Shiva in India's pop culture. Take a look.
Shiva. Mahadev. Omnipresent as a pop culture icon. From books to blockbuster films, television series to tattoos, Lord Shiva has been an inspiration and the cool god of the new generation. Shiva has been especially predominant in the south of India. Kings and queens of the Chola dynasty patronized construction of Shiva temples. No wonder then the epic hit Bahubali became one of the first films to break the language barrier in Indian cinema.
ఎవ్వడంట నిన్ను ఎత్తుకుంది ఏ తల్లికి పుట్టాడోయి.
The iconic scene of Prabhas carrying a giant shivling, now etched in the minds of cinema lovers and part of cinematic history.
ఉందేమో గంగధరికి లింగమే కదిలొస్తానంది. वही शून्य है वही इकाई, वही शून्य है वही इकाई, वही शून्य है वही इकाई, जिसके भीतर बसा शिवा.
Shiva's powerful mantras and chants have also been ruling popular culture. Whether it is the track Bolo Har Har from Shivai, or this new take on an old classic, celebrating Shiva in all his glory. And who can forget this cult classic, Rajesh Khanna and Mumtaz dancing in absolute abandon, toasting the pyala in the name of Mahadev. Indian films and culture never had a more popular icon than Shiva himself.
You are watching India Today.
The COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to do a rethink on how we lead our lives, to think about what we are doing to our bodies and to our health, and also wellness, because it is time now to go back to the basics. It is time to talk about your food, your sleep habits, your gut health, stress, and much more. And that exactly is what our brand new health show, Health 360.
Have you looked at back of the water bottle and found that it has an expiry date? The shelf life of water has been debated for long. So let's find out how long stored water remains safe for consumption and what happens if you consume expired water. Treated tap water is safe to consume for up to 6 months if stored well, while sparkling water is safe for up to 1 to 2 years. Tap water might start tasting odd if it gets mixed with the carbon dioxide in the air. However, both tap water and carbonated water are considered safe for drinking for 6 months despite the odd taste. Water in its pure form doesn't expire, but the plastic bottle has an expiry date. Drinking from an expired bottle isn't a good idea. Plastic can start leaching into the water over time and contaminate it with harmful chemicals such as antimony and bisphenol. To preserve water for long, it's important to store it well. The first step is to identify the amount of water to be stored and find a cool and dry place. Copper and steel vessels are ideal for long-term storage. For regular use, one can always opt for BPA-free plastic containers or glass bottles. To avoid contamination, one should refrain from using pipes and fill it directly from the faucet after filtration. If faucet is stored in gallons or drums, there should be a lid on it at all times to avoid contact with air. Exposure to BPA, which is used in plastics, has been known to interfere with reproductive development in animals. It has also been linked with other cardiovascular diseases, immunity diseases, and diabetes in humans. Filtration of water is must. The easiest way is to bring it to boil for around 15 minutes and let it cool. Most modern households use water purifiers nowadays. However, regular servicing of reverse osmosis, purifiers, and changing candles is crucial. Liquid bleaching is rare these days but has been a popular purification method in the past.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You are watching India Today.
Breaking news coming in. Shoes and chappals shown to TMC MLA Manik Bhattacharya when he was brought to a special court in Kolkata. That's the latest breaking news coming in at this point. Chor Chor slogans were raised by the Bharatiya Janata Party workers. The Bharatiya Janata Party councillor Sajal Ghosh and BJP leader and lawyer Priyanka Tibrawal were present in the agitation. Listen to what's going on. Suryagini joins us live from Kolkata. Suryagini, what's going on there? It's absolute pandemonium right there. Chor Chor slogans are also being, chanted. What's happening?
Well, absolutely. You rightly mentioned that when Manik Bhattacharya, MLA Trinamool Congress, he was arrested by the ED today morning. He was brought to the special court for his trial. The ED wants him in their custody. When he was being, he was being transported from the ED's vehicles to the, inside the court. That is when, a huge commotion was seen, and that is where a lot of these BJP supporters with Sajal Ghosh and Priyanka Tibrawal, they were, hurling slogans hurling Chor Chor slogans. We can draw a comparison between this particular episode and when Partha Chatterjee was, brought to the same particular court. Similar sights were seen, similar sights were witnessed during Partha's event as well, and same happen today as well. The hearing is still on. Whether or not the ED gets a custody or the court gives him a bail and lets him get out is something that only time can say. But until then, he was arrested by the ED in his alleged connection to the cash for job scam in this in West Bengal. Back to you, Jeffrey.
All right, Suryagini, thanks for joining us with the very latest details. We're getting some more breaking news coming in. We're cutting straight across to it. There's another twist in the Congress presidential poll. Shashi Tharoor has promised a surprise in the race to Congress's top job post. He says, I'm sure those who are expecting a lopsided victory for the establishment in Congress chief polls are in for a surprise. Shashi Tharoor adds that many electors have been instructed by their leaders to support his rival may eventually vote for him in a secret ballot. Tharoor also says, and I quote, expect poll authority to clarify voting will be by secret ballot, seal boxes opened in Delhi, votes mixed before counting, unquote. So big twist coming in right there as far as the Congress presidential polls are concerned. Shashi Tharoor going on to promise a surprise in the race to the Congress's top job post. He says he's sure that those who are expecting lopsided victory for the establishment in Congress chief polls are in for a major surprise. That's what he says. Many from the Congress, according to him, are hoping for his defeat. As Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra gathers steam in poll-bound Karnataka, the BJP is set to counter with its month-wide rally Jana Sankalpa Yatra. Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, along with senior party leader and former Chief Minister Yediyurappa, are going to flag off the yatra that is going to start off from Raichur today and cover 50 constituencies in total. The campaign is expected to go on till 25th of December. The Congress has hit back at the Saffron Party, calling their campaign as plain helicopter yatra, accusing the Chief Minister of getting scared by Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra.
ಈಗ ಜನಸಂಕಲ್ಪ ಯಾತ್ರೆಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ನಾಯಕರಾದಂಥ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರ ನೇತೃತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದರ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇಷ್ಟೇ, ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಿಜೆಪಿಯ ಪದಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿಗೆ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗೆ ಸಜ್ಜಾಗಿ 23ರ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಕ್ಷ ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ತರಬೇಕನ್ನುವಂಥ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ.
Meanwhile, trouble mounts for Rahul Gandhi over his Bharat Jodo Yatra, with NCPCR accusing the Congress of using children in their march for political gains. NCPCR chief has accused the grand old party of violating rules and urged the Election Commission to act against them. Take a look.
What were they doing, this child commission? When the children are raped in Madhya Pradesh, children are raped in Uttar Pradesh, were they sleeping? These children have come out to support Rahul Gandhi to face these atrocities and the rapes being done in the northern part of the country. They are volunteering on that. We never invite children. We are not BJP. After inviting the children, we don't rape them or rape them also like BJP.
भारत में राजनीतिक दलों को अपनी एक मर्यादा के तहत काम करना चाहिए. कोई भी राजनीतिक दल भारत में 7 से 17 साल के बच्चों के लिए कोई विंग खोलेगा तो आयोग उसकी शिकायत निर्वाचन आयोग को करेगा. अब उन्होंने ये विंग खोला है 7 से, आप सोचिए ना, 7 साल के बच्चे को क्यों राजनीति सिखाना चाहते हैं और उसके बाद झूठा आरोप लगाते हैं. तो ये उनकी गलती है, उनको उसको सुधार लेना चाहिए समय रहते. देखिए, हमको निर्वाचन आयोग से पूरी आशा है, हमको पूरा विश्वास है कि वो बच्चों का संगठित रूप से दुरुपयोग रोकने के लिए सक्षम आदेश देंगे. हम उसका इंतजार कर रहे हैं.
Ahead of elections in Karnataka, the debate over reservation for Lingayats is back. A BJP MLA, Arvind Belad, has shot off a letter to Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai with a demand to remove quota for Muslims and Christians and instead give reservation to the Lingayat community. In his letter, Belad has
contended that the previous Congress government gave quota meant for OBCs to Christians and Muslims. He said this in his letter, that these communities are already getting enough funds for the development from the central and state government through minority ministries, and hence the reservations given to Muslims and Christians should be curtailed and given to Lingayats instead. The demand has now triggered a political war, with the Congress lashing out at the BJP MLA, accusing the party of targeting minorities like Christians and Muslims. The party has slammed the BJP, saying those who do not agree with their ideology are being targeted. There has been no response yet from Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai on whether this government will consider Billad's demand or not. We're slipping to a very short commercial break here on India Today. There's lots more coming up on the other side. Stay with us.
You are watching India Today.
A defining moment in Indian politics. Then Prime Minister VP Singh tables the Mandal Commission report in Parliament. Reservations turn political. General categories up in arms as other backward classes make their way into India's social justice movement. A 27% of job quota for the OBCs based on the recommendations of a 10-year-old report. But the chaos in cities, the raging upper caste protest over OBC reservations had its own reaction. The anti-Mandal agitation set off a major socio-political churn deep inside the hinterlands of the Hindi heartland. Groomed in the socialistic ideology of his mentor Ram Manohar Lohia and later Chaudhry Charan Singh, then Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Mulayam Singh Yadav played the Mandal card in his own characteristic style. His government brought an ordinance in November 1990 listing 55 OBCs in all categories of state government jobs. The intended masterstroke, championing the OBC cause in Uttar Pradesh on the one hand and stealing the thunder from Hindutva protagonists on the other, all set to resume their Kar Seva in Ayodhya the same year. The watershed Mandal versus Kamandal politics gathered steam. Just weeks ago, UP police under the Mulayam Yadav government had opened fire at Kar Sevas, marching towards the disputed structure in Ayodhya, triggering a stampede. The Ram Temple movement of the 1990s became inextricably linked to the Mulayam Yadav brand of politics. By now, a darling of the OBCs and the Muslim community of Uttar Pradesh, Yadav founded the Samajwadi Party in October 1992. The year when the BJP was in power and the year when the demolition took place in Ayodhya. Still, Mandal beat Kamandal in 1993. The Samajwadi leader, in alliance with the BSP of Mayawati, stopped the BJP's political juggernaut in the assembly elections. Yadav became the chief minister for the second time in Uttar Pradesh when Hindutva sentiments peaked. A chief minister for a third time in 2003, and the opposition leader in the interim. Uttar Pradesh now settled in for single-party majorities. Mulayam Yadav eventually transferred power to his son in 2012 when his SP swept the state elections. With his father in the backseat, family feud making headlines, the Samajwadi Party under Akhilesh Yadav set for a head-on collision with the BJP's Hindutva Kamandal. The Mahakal Lok, billed as the largest, is over 900-meter corridor that is all set to make the journey to Mahakaleshwar temple a mesmerizing experience. The Mahakaleshwar temple is one of 12 Jyotirlings in the country and gets devotees throughout the year. With the completion of the first phase of the Mahakal Rudrasagar integrated development approach, Ujjain is all set for a bright makeover. Two majestic gateways, Nandi Dwar and Pinaki Dwar, have been erected near the starting point of the corridor, which winds its way to the entrance of the ancient temple while offering aesthetic views along the way. These 108 pillars are made from sandstone sourced from Rajasthan.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the famous Mahakal corridor at Ujjain on October 11. India today reaches the ground zero to show the magnificent piece of art having cost of massive 650 crores rupees. This entire corridor has 190 murals, a 900-meter long mural walls showcasing Lord Shiva's mythological stories.
The development of Mahakal Lok includes a midway zone, a park, a multi-storied parking lot for cars and buses, florist and other shops, solar lighting, a facility center for pilgrims, a mega entry gate, water pipeline and sewer line.
इसमें इस प्रोजेक्ट को जब मैंने हाथ में लिया था तो मेन कंसर्न था सिर्फ कि क्राउड को किस तरह से मैनेज करना है और लोगों का एक्सपीरियंस सुधारना है। तो एक्सपीरियंस सुधारने के लिए बस दुकानों को सेग्रीगेट करना एक सॉल्यूशन नहीं था। तो हमने इस चीज़ में सोचा कि भगवान शिव पर आधारित जितनी कथाएं हैं, जो पौराणिक कथाएं हैं, पुराणों में कही जाती हैं, वो उन सब कथाओं को यहाँ पर डिस्प्ले किया जाए। डिस्प्ले करने के लिए जो हमारा माध्यम रहा है वो रहा है स्कल्पचर और म्यूरल।
Around 200 kilometers from Bhopal, Ujjain is one of the ancient cities of Vikram Betal mythology fame. The city was originally built around Saptsagar or 7 lakes. The Mahakaleshwar temple was on Rudrasagar lake. The first phase of this massive construction around Rudrasagar came at a cost of Audi e-tron.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just landed at Indore. Moments from now, he will be heading to the Mahakal temple. He will be inaugurating the first phase of the Mahakal Lok corridor in Ujjain. These are images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being received by Narottam Mishra, the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh. MP Home Minister has welcomed him. Former Speaker of Lok Sabha, Sumitra Mahajan, was also there at the airport to receive Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And this is a long-standing commitment that is finally coming true. 900 meters of the Mahakal Lok corridor, a project that's worth 856 crore rupees. So this 900 meters Mahakal Lok corridor worth 856 crore rupees is being inaugurated today. The phase 1 of this corridor, of course, cost 316 crore rupees, which also has the revival of the Rudrasagar lake at the Mahakaleshwar temple, one of the 12 Jyotirlings. It's a very, very big signal that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is sending out. And remember, this isn't the first such corridor that is being inaugurated. The Kashi Vishwanath corridor before this, the Kedarnath Dham before that. Of course, all eyes also on the Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram temple at Ayodhya and the renovation and extension of the Somnath temple in Gujarat.
It's all about Namo Namah Shivaya. Modi begins Mahakal Lok Corridor. Unmissable Ujjain's 900-meter Shiva path. Iconic Shiva site gets a major makeover. After Kashi Corridor, now Mahakal. 180 statues of Shiva adorn this new path. Globally beloved Shiva site is reborn today.
So the countdown has begun. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate the Mahakal Lok Corridor to devotees in a short while from now in the ancient holy city of Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. The Mahakal Corridor is 900 meters long. It's being built, like we said, at a cost of 856 crore rupees. It is even bigger, even more grand than the Kashi Corridor. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we will get you much more on the prasad or the pilgrimage, rejuvenation and spiritual augmentation drive of the Narendra Modi government. But as always, let's get started with the headlines at 5. War of Yatras in Karnataka. Basavaraj Bommai and Yediyurappa kick off BJP's Jan Sankalp Yatra to cover 50 constituencies. The Congress party says this is a plane and helicopter yatra. Uddhav Thackeray gets mashal as the symbol of his Sena. Eknath Shinde faction submits the sun, shield and sword or the people tree for their official symbol. Aditya Thackeray calls them the Sena of Gaddars.
Are you confident of getting that bow and arrow symbol still?
Yes, of course, and we will keep our claim on it, and we will keep fighting the legal battle.
India bids farewell to the Samajwadi Party's patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav. Top netas and abhinetas attend the funeral at his ancestral village Saifai. Roger Binney likely to replace Sourav Ganguly as BCCI president. TMC says Ganguly lost BCCI top job because he did not join the Trinamool Congress. Russian President Putin rains missiles on Ukraine in violent Crimea bridge retaliation. Fierce face-off in the United Nations General Assembly. Ukraine calls Russia a terrorist state. Russia says Ukraine sabotaged the Crimea bridge. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Indore, and in a few minutes from now, he will be heading to the Mahakal temple. He will pray at the temple. He will also inaugurate phase 1 of the Mahakal Lok Corridor in Ujjain. The Prime Minister was received by Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Narottam Mishra and former Speaker of Lok Sabha Sumitra Mahajan. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's pet project, the Mahakal Corridor, after the Kashi Corridor. And this corridor, and you're seeing those marvelous, magnificent images on your television screen. 108 ornate pillars made of intricately carved sandstone. 50 murals depicting the Shiv Puran. 200 statues. What's the vision? Make Ujjain the central node for religious tourism. Connect the country with culture and tradition. Contribute to Ujjain's economy. Union Minister of State Shobha Karandlaje a short while back said that the design was inspired by Shiv Leela. That's the image of Mahakal on your television screen. The second image that you see on your television screen is that magnificent corridor that's now ready for inauguration. So this much awaited Mahakal Lok corridor is all set to be dedicated to devotees. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will unveil the first phase of the one-in-a-kind corridor built at a cost of 850 crore. The newly built corridor will feature multi-storied parking, shops. There's a park. This 900-meter long corridor is part of the Ujjain Smart City project and has on it sandstone columns, fountains, sculptures, illuminated murals. While the total cost of this project is 850 crore, it's only phase 1 of this project which costs approximately 350 crore rupees and is expected to contribute to the economy of Ujjain. And Ujjain is not only one of the oldest inhabited cities of India, it's also a spiritual center for learning, for education. This, of course, isn't the first time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has restored Astha of Shiv Bhakts. He himself is one. Remember, in December 2016, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Char Dham project to connect 4 pilgrimage sites in Uttarakhand: Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and the Badrinath Dham. August 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the renovation project at the Somnath Temple complex in Gujarat. And Somnath Temple has a long history and a lot to do with India's pride immediately after independence. But that's a story for another time. December 13, 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Kashi Vishwanath corridor or the Kashi Vishwanath Dham in Varanasi, and we've put out all those images on your television screen. The stage now set for Jai Mahakal, the Mahakaleshwar Temple corridor.
देखिए, ये इवेंट का कार्यक्रम है, शासकीय कार्यक्रम है, और जो मैंने किया था महाकाल के लिए ये रिकॉर्ड पर है। मैं कोई इस पर टिप्पणी नहीं करना चाहता, पर आज ये उसका श्रेय लेना चाहें, ये तो सब चीज़ का श्रेय लेते हैं। अभी तक तो उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा, शायद अगले 10 महीने में कहें कि जो कर्जा माफ हुआ वो भी हमने किया था। ये हर चीज़ में श्रेय लेना चाहते हैं।
कमलनाथ जी से प्रार्थना है, भगवान भोलेनाथ को, महाकाल को तो बख्श देते। अरे 2017 में इसको प्रस्ताव बनाया था, 1 साल में इसकी डीपीआर बन के आई थी, शिवराज सिंह जी मुख्यमंत्री थे। 2018 में इसका टेंडर लगा था, माननीय शिवराज सिंह जी मुख्यमंत्री थे। ये कहां से आ गए? इनके समय में तो ठंडे बस्ते में चला गया।
श्री महाकाल लोक को महाकाल महाराज को समर्पित करेंगे। आज शाम को प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, ये दिन बहुत सौभाग्यशाली है और प्रधानमंत्री जी सनातन सत्य भारतीय संस्कृति के वेद, उपनिषद, गीता का ज्ञान, योग, आयुष, इसकी अनुपम भेंट पूरे विश्व को देते रहे हैं।
आप भी देखने आए हैं, कैसा लग रहा है?
जी अच्छा लग रहा है।
ये पूरा नजारा देख के कैसा लगा आपको?
अच्छा लग रहा है।
अच्छा लग रहा है, बहुत
और
बढ़िया। आपको कैसा लगा?
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया।
आप इंतजार कर रही हैं कि महाकाल लोक के द्वार खुले?
जी हाँ, खुले द्वार, और हम बहुत भाग्यशाली हैं कि श्रीमान प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी हमारे इतना अच्छा, और शिवराज सिंह जी, और इतना अच्छा हमको ये सौभाग्य मिला है, और बहुत भाग्यशाली है हम कि इतना अच्छा उज्जैन हमारा चमन हो गया, और मोदी जी को मैं बार बार धन्यवाद दूंगी।
जी, आप भी सुबह से यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं?
जी हाँ साहब, हम भी सुबह से आए हुए हैं, यहाँ दर्शन कर रहे हैं। रात में भी हम आके यहाँ पर मतलब बड़ा आनंद ले रहे हैं, और उज्जैन के लिए बहुत ही अच्छी बात है कि इतनी बड़ी सौगात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दी है, जो कि हमारे जीवन भर, हमारे आने वाली पीढ़ी याद करेगी, और सभी को आके यहाँ पर दर्शन करके सभी को इसका लाभ लेना चाहिए। महाकाल मंदिर सियस्त यहाँ हर 12 साल में पड़ता है और इसका आनंद और सभी को इसका भाग्य मिलेगा।
उज्जैन महाकाल कॉरिडोर के उद्घाटन के लिए प्रधानमंत्री का यहाँ इंतजार हो रहा है। पीछे बैरिकेड जो है लगा दिए गए, सुरक्षा प्रबंध है, लेकिन इन सब के बीच में यहाँ पर एक तस्वीर नजर आती है जिसने हमारा ध्यान आकर्षित किया और वो तस्वीर है प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की यहाँ तस्वीर बन रही है। अब ये देखिए, ये तस्वीर आप क्यों बना रही है?
उनके स्वागत के लिए। स्वागत के लिए? हाँ।
तो किस बात का स्वागत आप कर रही है? जो कॉरिडोर बन रहा है इसका स्वागत है, प्रधानमंत्री आ रहे हैं इसका स्वागत?
प्रधानमंत्री आ रहे हैं इसकी बहुत खुशी है हम लोगों को।
पसंद है प्रधानमंत्री?
हाँ, बहुत पसंद।
क्यों पसंद है आपको?
उन्होंने हमारे लिए इतना कुछ किया। ये कॉरिडोर की वजह से ना रोजगार मिला बहुत लोगों को।
आप खुश हैं इस बात से?
हाँ, बहुत खुश
तो आपको मोदी जी पसंद है?
बहुत ज्यादा पसंद है क्योंकि बहुत कुछ किया है उन्होंने। मोदी जी ने बहुत कुछ अच्छा किया है, इस वजह से हमको पसंद है।
तो अब जब वो यहाँ आ रहे हैं, कॉरिडोर यहाँ बन रहा है, तो क्या बदल जाए? क्या लगता है क्या बदलेगा?
बहुत दिशा ही बदल गई है। महाकाल मंदिर है, इतना मतलब पहले प्रसिद्ध नहीं था, इस कॉरिडोर की वजह से और ज्यादा प्रसिद्ध हो जाएगा।
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं, एक बड़ी सौगात महाकाल कॉरिडोर के तौर पर देखे जा रहे हैं। पहले फेज का उद्घाटन हो रहा है। जैसा कि हमने आपको शुरू में बताया, सुरक्षा इंतजाम के चलते यहाँ पर चाक चौबंद इंतजाम कर दिए गए हैं और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर उत्साहित है। आप छतों पर भी देखेंगे, देखिए लोग आपको नजर आ रहे हैं और यही वजह है कि प्रधानमंत्री की लोकप्रियता जो, इससे आप थोड़ा अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं, क्योंकि आम जनता जो है वो यहाँ पर उनके आने के और महाकाल कॉरिडोर के उद्घाटन को लेकर उत्साहित है।
So about 18 minutes to go for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to reach the corridor. He of course will do a darshan at the Mahakal temple. This incidentally is a shivling that's south facing. Usually shivlings are east facing. This is also seen as a temple where devotees go if they want their problems solved, their adversaries vanquished. Many would argue that when you talk about Mahakal, Kal means time, Samay. Mahakal is the Lord of time. Adi Kal se Anant Kal tak, from the beginning of time till eternity. That is what Bhagwan Shiv is all about. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Hemendra Sharma, who joins us from Ground Zero in Ujjain. And Hemendra, we heard all the devotees there, we heard people of Ujjain, and you visited this temple before the corridor, and now that the corridor is being inaugurated, what has changed? What will change for people who live here, Hemendra?
Well, it has become grand. That's the word that we can say. The Mahakal corridor has made the entire city grand. In fact, this corridor has been built in a 47-hectare piece of land, and this is a 3-stage project. The first phase has been completed. More than 300 crores have been spent on it, and then the 3 phases, an estimated 900 crores are likely to be spent on it. So the facilities are being improved. There are going to be facilities for pilgrims, and Ujjain, as you know, is one of the cities which is at the top as far as religious tourism is concerned. So they are developing it as a city of religious tourism as well. The Mahakumbh is held, the Singhast is held every 12 years in Ujjain. So already Ujjain has all the facilities, but with this, the corridor that is being inaugurated by the Prime Minister today, most certainly it has become more grand.
Okay. Also explain for the benefit of our viewers. Now, when we talk about Ujjain, it is an ancient city of learning. Yeah. It is said that even Yogeshwar Sri Krishna came here for his education. He met Sudama here. So this is a historical city as far as Hindus are concerned. But what will happen in terms of these new facilities for devotees? Do you see the economy getting a boost, lives changing as far as people are concerned?
Well, Ujjain, as you said, Lord Krishna came here for his education. It was called Ujjaini then. Ujjaini, from Ujjaini, it became Ujjain. Lord Krishna met Sudama over here, as you rightly pointed out. And also Ujjain is known the world over for the Mahakaleshwar, one of the 12 Jyotirlingams that is over here in Ujjain. And Ujjain has got all the facilities over here, but with this corridor, facilities have been enhanced, the infrastructure has been enhanced. And in this 47-hectare piece of land where various forms and various leelas of Lord Shiva are being shown, the mythology is being depicted, it is most certainly likely to become a major point of attraction, major place of attraction for religious tourists. And as far as the economy is concerned, it is part of that religious tourism circuit that is being developed, and most likely and most certainly this is likely to provide a boost to the economy as well, the much needed boost, because this area, particularly from August till December, is frequented by tourists, and then there are periods when during the Mahashivratri from here till Amarkantak there is another Jyotirlingam in Amarkantak. So the road is not very good from Ujjain to Amarkantak. That is being developed. So the government of Madhya Pradesh is looking at it as developing it as an entire religious tourism circuit, and also there is water tourism that is happening in Hanumantiya. So a lot of boost to the tourism and particularly to the economy likely to happen.
A big boost to tourism, a big boost to local economy is what is expected. Now, when you walk through the corridor and you have, while this was being made, Hemendra, we are looking at some of these magnificent images of the change that's come. Describe for our viewers, what was the situation earlier? The parking, was it available for so many vehicles? Well, the corridor, the crowds, is that better managed now that you have a Pinaki Dwar and a Nandi Dwar?
Well, the Nandi Dwar has been erected, Pinaki Dwar has been erected, and as I can show you, this is the access road. And once you take a U-turn from here, you enter to the Mahakaleshwar temple. So the access has been beautified with the gate that has been erected, the Nandi Dwar that has been erected. And from here starts the Mahakal corridor that is to be inaugurated or dedicated to the nation by the Prime Minister today. And inside this corridor, the Leelas, as they call it, the Leelas of Lord Shiva, they are being depicted. For example, there is one scene where during his marriage, the mother-in-law of Lord Shiva, she faints the moment she sees the form of Lord Shiva, in which he is seen really dark. So there are various Leelas of Lord Shiva. His Tandavas also depicted. So all that is depicted inside this corridor that has been constructed. And so anyone who comes to this particular place not only will have the benefit of having the darshan of the Mahakaleshwar, performing puja inside the temple, offering water inside the temple to Lord Shiva, but also he would be able to, if he wants, walk through this corridor and see for himself and understand for himself the mythology that is associated with Lord Shiva.
Stay with me. So it's 5:20, another 5-7 minutes, the Prime Minister will reach this corridor. But, you know, Hemendra was just talking about the Jyotirlings, and for the benefit of our viewers, I want you to see some of, the Jyotirlings and the effort that is being made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So where are all the Jyotirlings? Now let's take a look at the Jyotirlings. You have one in Somnath, which is Saurashtra, Gujarat. Then of course Mallikarjun is in Andhra Pradesh. You have Mahakaleshwar, which is Ujjain, again Madhya Pradesh. Omkareshwar is in Madhya Pradesh. Kedarnath is in Uttarakhand. Vishweshwar temple, once again Kashi Vishwanath temple again is in Kashi, Uttar Pradesh. The Nageshwar temple is in Jamnagar, Gujarat. Baidyanath temple is in Deoghar in Jharkhand, and Rameshwaram temple is in Tamil Nadu. So the 12 Jyotirlings across our country. There are of course 2 in Maharashtra, for example. Let's also 3 in Maharashtra, including the Triambakeshwaram temple and then the Griheshwar temple in Maharashtra. You have the Bhima Shankar, the 3 in Kheda Taluka in Maharashtra, in Ellora, Maharashtra, and of course Triambakeshwar once again in Maharashtra. So this is where you have the 12 corridors, the 12 Jyotirlings. But like the Vishwanath Dham corridor in Varanasi, Ujjain is getting this facelift with the Mahakal look. It's a corridor leading to the Mahakaleshwar temple of Ujjain. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to inaugurate this corridor in Ujjain in moments from now. We bring you a ground report on the preview.
The Mahakal Lok, billed as the largest, is over 900-meter corridor that is all set to make the journey to Mahakaleshwar temple a mesmerizing experience. The Mahakaleshwar temple is one of 12 Jyotirlings in the country and gets devotees throughout the year. With the completion of the first phase of the Mahakal Rudrasagar integrated development approach, Ujjain is all set for a bright makeover. Two majestic gateways, Nandi Dwar and Pinaki Dwar, have been erected near the starting point of the corridor, which winds its way to the entrance of the ancient temple while offering aesthetic views along the way. These 108 pillars are made from sandstone sourced from Rajasthan.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the famous Mahakal corridor at Ujjain on October 11. India today reaches the ground zero to show the magnificent piece of art having cost of massive 650 crores rupees. This entire corridor has 190 murals, a 900-meter long mural walls showcasing Lord Shiva's mythological stories.
The development of Mahakal Lok includes a midway zone, a park, a multi-storied parking lot for cars and buses, florist and other shops, solar lighting, a facility center for pilgrims, a mega entry gate, water pipeline and sewer line.
इसमें इस प्रोजेक्ट को जब मैंने हाथ में लिया था तो मेन कंसर्न था सिर्फ कि क्राउड को किस तरह से मैनेज करना है और लोगों का एक्सपीरियंस सुधारना है। तो एक्सपीरियंस सुधारने के लिए बस दुकानों को सेग्रीगेट करना एक सॉल्यूशन नहीं था। तो हमने इस चीज़ में सोचा कि भगवान शिव पर आधारित जितनी कथाएं हैं, जो पौराणिक कथाएं हैं, पुराणों में कही जाती हैं, वो उन सब कथाओं को यहाँ पर डिस्प्ले किया जाए। डिस्प्ले करने के लिए जो हमारा माध्यम रहा है वो रहा है स्कल्पचर और म्यूरल।
Around 200 kilometers from Bhopal, Ujjain is one of the ancient cities of Vikram Betal mythology fame. The city was originally built around Saptsagar or 7 lakes. The Mahakaleshwar temple was on Rudrasagar lake. The first phase of this massive construction around Rudrasagar came at a cost of 350 crore rupees, of the total 856 crore. With Ravish Pal and Anand Bhatt, Bureau Report, India Today.
Rahul Ishwar is a devotee, he's an author, he's an activist, and Rahul Ishwar joins me on the broadcast. First, the Kashi Vishwanath corridor and now the Mahakal Lok corridor. Rahul Ishwar, do you see this as India's rich cultural heritage, one, being revived, two, being taken to the next generation?
Absolutely, yes. A nation who is forgetting their history and heritage is bound to all the kind of failures. And please remember, India is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. This is cultural rejuvenation. We have seen that in Kashi. And Kashi and Ujjain are some of the oldest cities of the entire world. Long before Athens, long before Greece and the entire Greek civilization, we had Kashi, we had Ujjain, and we had these cities. As the earlier person rightly said, it's a place where the famous Vikram and Betal happened, the original story happened. And these are the places of Jyotirlings, and these are the oldest form of worships anywhere in the entire world. That's the reason why Indian civilization is a mother civilization to the entire world. And Swami Vivekananda, when he went to 1893 Chicago, he proudly said, I come from the mother of civilization. I come from the mother of all faiths. So these are ancient-most cultural heritage. We need to preserve it. And I hope the city will also be given to UNESCO World Heritage Site, because this is one of the oldest cities in the world, which can, and this is so beautiful and this is spectacularly done by the government. All the appreciation to the government. This will enhance spirituality, culture. This will improve tourism. This will improve standard of living of people, livelihood of the people. So it's a holistic package. It is spirituality on one side and economics on the other side. We should combine both.
That's a very interesting aspect that you focus on. This is not just about spiritualism. This is not just about cultural rejuvenation. It's also about economy. And for the benefit of some of our younger viewers, tell us how this twin aim will be achieved.
And especially for the younger people, I know they should understand there is a deeper economic ecosystem that will be empowered by spirituality and culture. See, every nation has got something unique to showcase the world. For example, the Egyptians have their pharaohs, their ancient pyramids and mummies. That's one of the major revenue source of these people. They proudly celebrate it. Or there are many nations, including China, who showcase the Great Wall of China. We Indians have such architectural marvel, artistic marvels, who has not been given enough attention for many centuries altogether. So when Kashi is rejuvenated, Ayodhya is rejuvenated, Ujjain is rejuvenated, Rameshwaram is rejuvenated, it is India and the ecosystem that is rejuvenated. And that ecosystem is a combination of spirituality, culture, ethics in one sense, economy in another sense, and people will come, they will know, they will spend money, they will spend time, so people will be attracted more and more. And I'm profoundly thankful as an ordinary devotee to a major channel like India Today who is showcasing it in such vividity. When you see that, you feel like going there. So the children will get that spiritual and ethical inculcation of values. So it will be a great occasion for our people to learn about our great history and heritage. Out of the almost 1,000 years of invasion, we have lost that touch with our own roots. And thanks to Modi ji, thanks to all the governments beyond politics, they are rejuvenating that culture and civilization, which is essential for India. And let me just quote one line from Muhammad Iqbal, who beautifully wrote, "Yunan o Misr o Roma, सब मिट गए जहां से, अब तक मगर है बाकी नाम और निशान हमारा, कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिट्टी नहीं हमारी, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जमान हमारा."
Absolutely right. सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जहां हमारा. Stay with me for a moment. Let's for a moment dip in and listen in to the Damru. This is how Shiv Bhakts welcome Lord Shiv. But let's listen in for a moment. Mahakal temple, and there are not tens, not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of stories around the Mahakal temple. Many say it's not for the feeble-hearted to go there. Many say when it comes to Mahakal, Kal ka bhi Mahakal, then it is the most powerful form of Lord Shiv, the Lord of time. But there's another way to look at it. This is God from time immemorial till eternity. Let's tell you a little more about the Mahakal temple, the Mahakaleshwar temple, one of the 12 Jyotirlings. Now, according to Hindu scriptures, it is said that the temple here was constructed first by Lord Brahma himself. This is, of course, a Swayambhu Jyotirling. There's another legend about the Mahakaleshwar temple, about how Lord Shiv came to reside here to protect his devotees from their enemies. This is where you go to pray when you want to destroy